Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Hey, they said I got to come off the bench.
Now, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Welcome in, Wednesday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp here with you, filling in for Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. And after 2 days with just me, Alondra decided she was going to quit on the show. She sabotaged the board. It broke yesterday halfway through. Luckily, guys, our guy Musso got it fixed. He's on the board today. And we got Cassie Spazzali. Rare trio here in the mornings. The two most morning people in the entire building, Matthew Musso and Cassie Spazzali, had the privilege of waking up today before the sun got up, come in to do the early morning show. Guys, how we doing this morning?
The initial adrenaline is wearing off, and I've just started yawning. We got to stop that, though, because we got a long day. We got a long.
Yeah, you're here till like minimum 6.
This is the beginning of the run here. Like, it's a marathon today.
Well, you don't have to do this show tomorrow,
I don't.
and no show on Friday. So
It's true.
Small price to pay.
Yes, indeed.
Cassie, what's up?
I'm doing rough. Yesterday, my class.
You say this every morning.
Well,
every
because
morning
I'm
you
not
say
a
this.
morning person, but I have a reason this morning. Yesterday, my class got canceled, so after work, I just went home and took a nap, which means that I was like wide awake in the afternoon, so I didn't go to bed till very late, and I snoozed my alarm too many times this morning. So it's a rough morning trying to keep my eyes awake.
First off, I don't think you can snooze your alarm enough in the morning. I do it 3 times every morning. Most people are like,
That's a
oh, Taylor,
lot.
you have so much energy in the morning. You probably set your alarm and get right up. I used to. No. The alarm sets at 5, snooze it, 5:10, snooze it. I get out of bed like 5:20. I'm out the door at 5:30. And that's where we're at.
That's
It's kind of a rush in the morning, but it kind of wakes me up because I'm like, crap, I better get going or I'm going to be late. But you watched Nobody Wants This. Finally.
I did.
I recommended this show to
did.
you 2 months ago, Cassie.
The whole season.
Well, how was it?
It was really good. It's 10 episodes long. Each episode is like 25, 30 minutes. So after I took my nap, I was just like wide awake. So I spent like 5 hours. I was doing homework at the same time. So I was a little multitasking. But
You still have homework? You graduated in like a month. Literally a month from today, right?
Exactly 1 month from today, I graduate.
Hey, shout out.
So I'm very excited about that. But no, it was really good. And I didn't know what to expect. So it was
Moose,
good.
you would love this show. So basically, this girl runs a raunchy podcast with her sister, and she meets a rabbi, and they fall in love. And she doesn't want to become Jewish, and he can't marry her because she's not Jewish. Riveting stuff.
So when you say I would love it, you were being sarcastic.
I watched it, and I love. So here's the thing. I recommended this female-centered show to Cassie. She liked it. I recommended the female-centered Running Point with Kate Hudson to Alondra. She loved it. So come to me for all your chick flick show needs.
Okay.
I'm apparently an expert in this field now. So,
right.
We can add that to the resume of things that I know. So we're excited about it.
What's this one called?
Nobody Wants This.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to watch that.
It's with Kristen Bell.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Kristen Bell? Okay, I do like Kristen Bell.
Don't know who the
she's
rabbi
great.
is.
She can sing. She really can sing well.
I don't think she sings in this. Does she sing in this? I don't think she
doesn't
does.
sing in this, but she is a really good singer.
She's a really good singer.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah?
She's Anna from Frozen.
She's Anna from Frozen?
Yes.
True story.
What?
Yes.
Who's Elsa?
She's the voice of Anna. Elsa's Idina Menzel.
I don't know who that is, but cool.
From
Congratulations to
the
Adina.
original Elphaba from Wicked. That's Idina Menzel.
Okay, Cassie. I know it's early in the morning and you're not thinking straight. If you think that I have seen Wicked on any level, I don't even know what it's about. It's like somewhat related to Wizard of Oz, right?
It's the prequel.
Yeah.
Okay,
Basically,
that's
the
all I
prequel to
got.
Wizard of Oz.
That's all I got. Was that the one that Ariana Grande was in?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, see, I know who was in it. Look at that. I know one character in the movie. All right, look. Today, sports news-wise, we got a lot to cover. LSU baseball played a midweek game. Is Derek Carr faking his shoulder injury? Maybe, maybe not. We're going to talk some LSU spring football. Zach Nagy's going to hop on, give us his thoughts from that scrimmage on Saturday, and he was out at practice yesterday. We're going to be joined by Ali Cosell, talk a little New Orleans Pelicans, as it appears that they are hiring Joe Dumars as their next VP of basketball operations. We're going to get into all that, but before we do, let's get this show started.
It's time to get to work, courtesy of Tiger Labor and Staffing, where they can help take care of screening, training, payroll, and more. Now, for starters.
The LSU baseball team got swept over the weekend against Auburn. We all know about it, right? We broke it down here in detail on Monday. They got a win last night against McNeese, and you can sit there and say, okay, well, they won their midweek game against a smaller in-state opponent. This was a hot team. McNeese had a 12-game winning streak coming into this game. They were top 30 in RPI. Like, if the season would have ended yesterday, they would have been in that conversation as an at-large national seed. We talked about it yesterday. They bat over 300 as a team. They have a 3.92 team ERA. This is a good baseball team, and LSU really struggled to hit the ball over the weekend. Well, that was not the case last night. LSU got started early and often. They played 3 runs in the bottom of the first inning. Jared Jones hits a home run to right center to make it 2-0. Then Jake Brown singled to right field. That brought in Ethan Fry. We'll get to him. He had a heck of a night. In the second inning, Jones singled again to left center. This scored Chris Stanfield. That made it 4-0 after the second inning. It stayed like that for the next few. McNeese finally gets on the board in the fourth when Edwards hit a home run, a 2-run shot on a 3-0 count to right field. That made it 4-2. So, okay, the game's getting a little tight. McNeese might make a game out of it. Nope. LSU scored 4 runs in the fourth inning. Ethan Fry got a hit. Milam hit an RBI. Jake Brown reached on an error, and Ethan Fry scored. Hernandez singled to right center. That scored Stephen Milam. So it's 8-2 in the blink of an eye. And then after that, LSU just kind of did what they did. They added some insurance runs in the 5th and the 8th inning. So they did their job. They get the 10-3 victory over the McNeese Cowboys. And look, when I look at this game, I mentioned it yesterday. The 2 things I wanted to see. I was excited about this game because I said, your bats were super cold. Your starting pitching wasn't great on the weekend. You have a chance to bounce back against a really good baseball team. That's exactly what LSU did. I didn't want a ton of tinkering in the lineup. I get why you do it in midweek. You want to get other guys experience. But as bad as you were hitting 1 through 9 for 3 games in a row, I wanted your normal 9 out there, at least for extended action, to see what you can do. And that's what they did. I mean, Daniel Dickinson actually led off. Him and Curiel batted second. Daniel Dickinson led off last night. That was a slight change, but I mean, Dickinson was in there. Curiel, Jared Jones, Ethan Fry, Stephen Milam. Your normal cast of characters was out there, and they all hit. Jared Jones, 3 for 3. He had a home run. He had 3 RBIs, and he got walked twice. Ethan Fry goes 3 for 4. So combined, they go 6 for 7 on the night. That's perfect for right there in the heart of your lineup in that 4 and 5 spot. Also, I wanted to see William Schmidt, Connor Ware, whoever was going to get the start in this midweek, get extended a little bit. I asked for 3 to 4 innings. William Schmidt went 3 1/3 because me and Musso actually talked about this the other day. Like, that Sunday spot could potentially be open somewhere down the road if Chase Shores continues doing what he's doing in that third day on the weekend. Could it be William Schmidt? Could it be Connor Ware? Could it be any of these guys that you've seen get spot starts? You got to find out. You got to let one of these guys go an extended outing. William Schmidt goes 3 1/3. He gives up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, only 1 walk. He was pretty good for the most part. Connor Benj threw 2/3 of an inning. Connor Ware throws a third. Maverick Rizzi came in 2 2/3 innings, 6 strikeouts, no walks, only allowed 1 hit, no earned runs. I thought he was probably your best pitcher last night. Cooper Williams throws an inning. Jacob Myers throws an inning. You threw 6 different pitchers last night, and only 2 of them gave up runs. William Schmidt gave up 2, and Connor Benj gave up 1. Ware, Rizzi, Williams, Myers, back-to-back, and none of them gave up anything on the mound. It was really impressive. You limited this team to 7 hits, and they've been hitting the cover off the ball. On the flip side of things, you didn't hit it all last week. Yesterday, I brought up how bad LSU was 1 through 6 and really 1 through 9 all weekend long. You got 13 hits off of a really good pitching staff. Parker Morgan got the start. He only went 1/3 of an inning. You got to him quick. I mentioned the 3 runs that you played it. He gave up 3 earned runs and only 1/3 of an inning. They wound up having to throw 10 pitchers last night, and you did a good job against each one of them. We talked about it yesterday. They, in midweeks, they typically only go about 2 to 3 innings per pitcher anyways. 6 guys win an inning. Then you had 3 guys go 1/3 of an inning, 1/3 of an inning, 1 1/3. I mean, that was your pitching numbers. They really had to piece things together. So you saw a lot of different arms, and you were successful against all of them. Look, there are two people in this building whose baseball opinions I trust a lot more than myself. One is Hunt Palmer. The other is the guy sitting right over here, Matt Musso. Matt, what was your biggest takeaway from last night?
Biggest takeaway, it'd be a tie. I loved what I saw from Maverick Rizzi. I mean, how can you not? That's what it can look like. That's what it's supposed to look like when you're 6'9" and get there 98 with a tight breaking ball. I mean, the arm side movement on the fastball was the best it's been all year last night, and it played off the slider well. And because of that, it's not just that both pitches start in the same spot, but it's because his misses were small with both. That it was just around the plate, and you had to respect all of it. The consistency and velocity was very good from him. Haven't seen that a ton so far this year. You've seen a few 97s and 98s here and there, but mainly it's been 94, 95. A night ago on Tuesday, it was 96 to 98 pretty darn consistently. So he was awesome, and, I mean, the situation he was put in at first, he came in with 2 runners on, hit the first batter on a breaking ball that just got away from him, loads the bases, then goes punch out. I mean, that's a huge spot in a game where that could have gotten McNeese right back in if he surrenders a hit. And then outside of that, Jared Jones, obviously the 3-for-3 night. He reached base 5 times, the homer, the 3 RBI. Play. That's huge, but more so what it looked like for LSU offensively. They looked like themselves again. They were much more in character. When you look at the out distribution, 8 ground ball outs, 8 fly ball outs, it's very equitable. Shows you're hitting the ball on a line a lot more than you were over the weekend, which was a big problem for them. And you only struck out 4 times, so you weren't expanding the zone or any of that thing, anything of that nature, which plagued you over the weekend. So I mean, those would be my 2. Maverick Rizzi, that's back-to-back awesome outings from him, and you were much more in character offensively. They hit 384 with runners in scoring position. You had 2 strike hits, two out runs. The 4th inning you mentioned were the 4 runs. All 4 of them scored with 2 outs. The whole rally started with 2 outs. It was the Curiel single that got that going. So they were really good. Like that's just what they needed. And one more, Taylor, I'll throw Jacob Myers in there. That's now 2 straight outings from Jacob Myers with no walks and no 3-ball counts. One of those in the SEC, one of those in the midweek. I want to continue to see more from him after that, because if he's figuring it out, if he's figuring out how to consistently throw the ball over the white of the plate at 98 miles an hour with the tight wipeout breaking ball that he has, well, you just potentially found another weapon. Need to see more, but that's 2 really good encouraging outings from him in a row.
Yeah, I mean, you and I were talking about it on Monday. I was bringing up the number of pitchers you threw. Like, if I would have told you, over the weekend, LSU had 8 relievers come in, you gave up a total of 2 runs, you would have said, okay, well, LSU swept Auburn. It was your starting pitching, and, like, you bring up Maverick Rizzi. The control is what's always been the issue. Like, the stuff's always been there, and you talked about it. He hits the first batter, and you're like, okay, here we go again with Maverick Rizzi. And then he comes out and has, like, arguably his best performance of the year. And I want to get your thoughts on this. I saw a lot of people complaining last night of, oh, you're having Luis Hernandez catch almost the entire game. You need to give him a rest. First off, K-Dan Beatty was a late scratch last night, but also, like, I'm okay with that just because of how bad he and everybody else, all your normal starters, were on the weekends 1 through 9. Get him in there. Get him hot again at the plate. And, I mean, he had a few hits last night. Like, I'm actually okay with him in that situation under the circumstances after getting swept.
Yeah. I mean, it was good to see him find the hit column again, because he had been scorching hot heading into that Auburn series. And, I mean, they got him out of there. I don't remember what inning Blaze Priester came in, but it was at least the final 2. So, I mean, he didn't end up catching all 27 outs, which is fine. And you saw him get some run in the Nichols series. The Nichols game last week heading into Auburn, where he kind of came in late in the ball game as a pinch hitter and whatnot, and caught a little bit. So, yeah, I'm fine with it. I think they've conditioned him really well to be back there for long periods of times and a long amount and a large amount of innings on his legs. So I'm good with that as well with Hernandez back there.
All right, that'll kind of do it for your baseball recap. We'll get into a little bit of baseball, kind of close out the end of this hour. There's a lot of talk about people saying, "Oh, how hot is Texas A&M? Is that a team that could get hot at the right time?" Maybe not. You go back and look at what they did over the weekend. Like, they beat South Carolina, who's one of the worst teams in the conference, but it's kind of the way they did it. Like, are they better than what they were at the beginning of the year? Sure, but it might be a little bit of fool's gold. We'll get into that briefly at 7:45. All right, we're going to take a quick time out. When we get back, LSU continues their spring practice. They had a practice yesterday. A lot of the talk is about the offensive line because in the practice on Saturday that was open to the fans, people want to talk about how the offensive line got beat, what the starting rotation is going to look like. I have some thoughts on that. We'll get into that on the other side here on Off the Bench.
Off the bench.
If your car dies in the interstate when you're having a panic attack, you think you're dying, and you're on the way to the hospital, chances are you need a new car. So you should go to All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge. Located off Airline in Goodwood, whether you're looking for a new, used, you want to lease potentially, it's all there at All-Star, and they've got the best prices, best selection. You go to the website, you can check out the deals, or just go see them, start to work with the sales staff, okay? Because the people are what separates the culture. Over there's the absolute best. Remember, we got our buy 3 tires, get the 4th for $1 deal going down right now. Go to All-Star Toyota Baton Rouge, allstartoyotabatonrouge.com.
Yeah, when you go to the website, see what they've got available for you, and that is buying new, that's leasing, and that is renting. And we tell you every day because I find it like it's one of the best things out there that whatever you buy new, you can lease and you can rent. It's just not going to be found anywhere else. Like you're going to get like one option in other places. Everything's available in the rental process over at All-Star. Go to the website today, allstartoyotabatonrouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart.
Welcome back to more sports talk with some other stuff mixed in. Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Welcome back in. Wednesday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp here with you, filling in for Jacob Hester and T-Bob. Hebert teased it a little bit there before we went into break. LSU was on the practice field on Saturday. Not really a spring game. We'll go ahead and call it a scrimmage for argument's sake. Fans were allowed to attend, and, you know, a lot of the talk has been about the offensive line because at times they looked good, at times they didn't. And we all know that any offense is only going to be as good as the offensive line. So I wanted to look at like maybe what this starting O-line will look like at the start of fall camp. I think you have a lot of talent on this offensive line. You just don't have a ton of experience. I get it. It's not easy replacing 4 starters. I mean, Will Campbell, Garrett Dellinger, Miles Frazier, Emory Jones are all gone. All 4 of those guys were really, really good offensive linemen. The only one back is DJ Chester, and there's a chance he plays a new position altogether. So you're really kind of breaking in an entire new 5. Most of fall camp, this has been your 2 deep. With your 1s, it's been Tyree Adams at left tackle, Paul Mabinga left guard, DJ Chester at center, Cohen Eccles at right guard, and Weston Davis at right tackle. Behind that, it was your 2s, Carius Kern, Ori Williams, Braylon Moore, Bo Bordelon, and Josh Thompson at right tackle. DJ Chester and Braylon Moore have kind of rotated back and forth at that center position. When Braylon Moore comes in, Chester still stays in that starting lineup. He just kicks out to guard, which I'm good with. But a lot of people are going to say, okay, well, what's your favorite lineup? Everyone's like, okay, well, we want Moore here. We want Chester here. Josh Thompson's got to be part of the equation. Like, what is your favorite lineup? My thing is, one thing is clear. Adams and Chester appear to have spots on this starting offensive line. They're the only ones that don't sub out. Josh Thompson comes in for Weston Davis. Cohen Eccles bumps out when Chester moves to guard. Ori Williams, Carius Kern come in. Braylon Moore comes in, but like Tyree Adams stays in. DJ Chester stays in for the 1s most of the time. My favorite lineup, the one that I would like to see come to fruition, is probably from left to right, Tyree Adams, Paul Mabinga, Braylon Moore, DJ Chester, and actually Josh Thompson at right tackle, and I'll explain why. I think that gives you the best combination of experience in a very young offensive line room. I know we all have thoughts on Paul Mabinga. I get it. He was not great his first couple of outings last season. He's thrown in there during the second half against Texas A&M on the road in a hostile environment for Garrett Dellinger. That's really tough. You're replacing a really good player. It's kind of your first extended action. You're in a tight ball game in a hostile environment. That's a tough ask from anyone. You go look at what he did the 4 regular season starts to close out the season. Against Alabama, he had a PFF grade of 42.1. It was the lowest on the entire team. I get it. Not great. It was the guy's first start. At Florida, it was a little bit better. Still not great, but it was better at 47.3. And then Vandy and Oklahoma, if you go back and look at those, like, they're in the 50s, in the mid-50s somewhere. So he got better, actually, every single game. From Alabama to Florida to Vandy to Oklahoma, he was better, at least grade-wise, every single game. And we saw how this offensive line performed in the bowl game. They did not allow a sack, and that was against the Dave Aranda coach Baylor team that had a pretty good defense coming in. That offensive line was pieced together, and Mabinga was one of those guys. I mean, he was kind of a veteran on that O-line in the bowl game, and they did a really nice job. I would like to see Josh Thompson at guard because that kind of seems like his more natural position, whether it's all these experts in recruiting, the transfer portal, everyone said, hey, he can play guard and tackle, but he's probably a lot better at guard. And that's great because if he goes to guard, that means that Weston Davis has done a really good job in fall camp. He's beat him out at that right tackle spot, and you put Josh Thompson elsewhere. That's great. Weston Davis just doesn't quite have the experience. In your season, you are not easing into things at all. We all know where you go week 1. It is on the road to Clemson to play the Tigers. Take on Dabo Swinney. Like, that's one of your tougher games of the year, and it's the opening game. That is a lot to ask from a young player to throw him in there in that environment. Just like I was talking about with a Paul Mabinga. I kind of want to see Josh Thompson at right tackle, at least in game 1, because of the experience factor. Look, if Weston Davis ends up being a stud, it's even better. You can move Thompson to guard. But I like Thompson at tackle for another reason. You're a lot deeper at guard, at least body-wise. Here's who you have at guard. I think ultimately Braylon Moore is going to take over the starting center position. So we could say DJ Chester, Carius Kern can play guard or tackle, Ori Williams, Solomon Thomas, Cohen Eccles, Bo Bordelon. I mean, I just listed 6 or 7 guys right there. without Josh Thompson. At tackle, even if you feel good about Tyree Adams and Weston Davis, you got Tyree Adams, Weston Davis. Curious Kern's been playing some tackle in spring. He can go guard or tackle. Bo Bordelon could potentially move out to tackle if you needed to. There's not a ton of bodies right now as far as pure tackles on this football team. I would like to see Josh Thompson at tackle. It didn't even have to be in the first group. If you love Weston Davis, that's great. You need another tackle. Again, Adams and Weston Davis, if they're great, look, they could be the next Will Campbell, Emory Jones for all I know. Put them out there, see what they can do. Maybe they're your starters for the next 2 years. That would be great. But who's behind them? You kind of have a logjam at guard. And everyone's going to say, you have no depth on this offensive line. You have no experience. You have depth, especially in that interior. That's why I was a little bit concerned of the lack of tackles that this coaching staff have brought in the transfer portal. I mean, the only tackle you brought in was Josh Thompson, and he's kind of a guard and tackle hybrid. You needed one. Because, sure, Carius Curran can play tackle. He played more guard in high school. Solomon Thomas, he's coming in. He's pretty much strictly a guard, at least right now. Braylon Moore is going to be your center. If not, he can play a little bit of guard. Cohen Eccles can play guard. He can play center. Not a lot of these guys can play tackle. So for that reason, I think Josh Thompson, at least immediately, helps you more at right tackle than maybe he does at guard. And it's weird to say because so many people love him at guard, but I'm just looking at an experience standpoint and a depth standpoint. Maybe your favorite starting five. Again, my favorite starting five, Tyree Adams, Paul Mabinga, Braylon Moore, DJ Chester, Josh Thompson. From left to right. Because you have a lot of depth there in the middle. You can still have Cohen Eccles, Carius Curran, Solomon Thomas, Bo Bordelon. All those guys can play guard. With Adams and Thompson, you kind of have Weston Davis as your backup tackle. Carius Curran can be the backup at left tackle. They got a lot to figure out still. That is obviously the biggest question mark on this team. No doubt about it. I just look at it and I'm saying, okay, if you want the best possible lineup in three places of talent, experience, and where you can gain the most depth, I think that's it. I think it's Adams, Mabinga, Moore, Chester, Thompson, left to right. I think that has to be your play, at least early in the season. Again, if Weston Davis becomes a stud at right tackle, great, but you still don't have a ton of depth there. One thing we do know, this offense will go as this O-line goes. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, we're going to talk about Derek Carr's shoulder injury. I know we've already done it, but there was a report came out yesterday from Diana Rossini and Mike Florio. They maybe don't believe this is a legitimate injury. I'm going to dive a little bit into that, and then an interesting name, according to CBS Sports. They put out a possibility of the Saints' next quarterback. You guys will find this one pretty interesting. That's coming up on the other side here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
You work hard every day to pursue a life you love. You put in the time, and it shows. You're forging ahead, chasing a dream, creating something better for the ones you love. You're building your own life. So why not build your own tractor? With John Deere tractors and attachments for almost any need, the Sunshine team can help you do just that. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
How quickly will this segment leave the rails? It's Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Welcome back in. Wednesday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharper with you, filling in for Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. T-Bob will be back next week. Actually, our guy Jacob Hester will be covering the draft in Green Bay. Will he be out all week? I don't actually know, but you're not going to see a lot of Jake, at least next week. He will be out there for the NFL draft up in Green Bay. A report came out yesterday, a little after noon, and it wasn't really a report. It was just kind of a story of Diana Rossini and Mike Florio both giving their opinions on this Derek Carr injury. We all know that Friday afternoon, right during AFR, it was announced that Derek Carr could possibly miss the entire 2025 season with a so-called shoulder injury that may require surgery. Guys, it's Wednesday, and nobody in this room has any idea what is wrong with Derek Carr's shoulder. It's been almost a week, and there is no information about what kind of injury he has, other than, well, his shoulder's injured. Me and Musso were talking about it. Like, we were producing AFR on Friday, and I'm like, it's April. How'd you hurt your shoulder? What did you do? Did you not know about this? Well, Diana Rossini and Mike Florio, they kind of think something a little fishy is going on. So Diana Rossini said that she thinks the situation's fishy. She said maybe this is Derek Carr looking at a situation going, I don't want the Kirk Cousins treatment. I don't want to be your quarterback. You guys draft a young guy, and it's basically, when is this guy going to play? She said, I did have a lot of text messages and conversations over the last few days about the Derek Carr situation, and it was very hard for me to find someone in football who said, oh, Derek's definitely dealing with a shoulder injury. It was, how long have you been doing this? You know what this is about. Trade bait, end of the day, that's what this is about. Mike Florio kind of echoed something similar. He said, I don't think this was a coincidence. I think he knew he was injured. I think we all found out about it 13 days before the Saints are going to take Shedeur Sanders. And I think that at some level, he hopes it's going to screw up their ability to take Sanders. Okay. A lot of people had a lot of reactions about this report. I don't know how much fact this is based off of, and I don't want this to sound like I'm defending Derek Carr, because I'm not. As far as I'm concerned, I don't want Derek Carr playing another game in the black and gold. This is not really based on concrete evidence. I mean, at the end of the day, This is Diana Rossini and Mike Florio's opinions. Do I have any reason to doubt them? No. Do I have any reason to just blindly believe them? No. It's certainly a confusing set of circumstances, but go back and look what they said. Diana said, I've had a lot of text message conversations and nobody can nail down exactly what's wrong. I understand that it's a weird situation. That doesn't necessarily mean Derek Carr's faking his injury. Mike Florio said, I think he's trying to prevent them from taking Shedeur Sanders. Two things wrong with that. I don't think they were taking Shedeur before this injury. Secondly, wouldn't that strengthen the reason to take Shedeur Sanders, not kind of help them back away from it? Like, if you don't have Derek Carr, I would think you're more likely to take Shedeur and not less likely. Look, if Derek Carr if it comes out that he is lying about this shoulder injury, cut him now. Get rid of him, cut your losses, move on. He's already one of the worst free agent signings that you have ever had in the history of your franchise. Get rid of him. He clearly doesn't want to be here. He's not good enough to have this type of attitude. If you were Patrick Mahomes, if you were Josh Allen, and you're doing all of this because you don't want to mentor a young quarterback, it may not be the right thing to do, but it's like, okay, we can maybe understand you've done a lot in this league. Derek Carr doesn't even have a playoff win. Like, Derek Carr cannot act like this. Did he make all the things about the shoulder injury up? I don't know. We'll find out in due time. Again, I know a lot of people reacted to this report from Diana Rossini, and I get it. The thing is, I just kind of look at it more speculation than based on cold, hard facts. I mean, like, one thing Diana said that, like, I didn't necessarily agree with. She noted that it is a, quote, fact that the Saints are on a mission to draft a quarterback in 2025, though she didn't specify what round they were hoping to make that splash in. Is that a fact? I mean, a lot of people, like, maybe assume that's going to happen. Like, you've heard Shedeur at 9, and then it's like, okay, well, maybe it's not Shedeur at 9. Maybe it's Tyler Shuck at 40. Maybe it's Quinn Ewers a little bit later down the road. Like, maybe they like Jackson Dart. Like, you've heard those rumors, but I don't know if you can call that a fact. I don't know if you can say the Saints are on a mission to draft their quarterback of the future. A lot of people have said if the Saints, like myself included, maybe don't want them to draft a quarterback in the first round. I don't. Am I okay with a quarterback at 40? Maybe. Now, the Derek Carr situation certainly changes things a little bit. We'll see what his availability is in 2025. But next year's quarterback class is a lot more loaded than this year's. You can have the opinion that the Saints are on a mission to draft a quarterback here in 2025. I don't really know how you can call that a fact. So there's a lot that I don't like about this report, including the fact that there's a rumor that your starting quarterback is potentially faking an injury so that he can be traded. That's another problem. A lot of people have said, okay, well, Derek Carr's faking this injury because he doesn't want to be with the Saints and he wants to be traded. Why would you trade for Derek Carr now that he has an injury? Like, if Derek Carr's plan is, I'm going to fake an injury so the Saints trade me, like, wouldn't your trade value be next to nothing? You get a big contract. You haven't even performed up to that contract when you're on the field, and now you're telling me you have a shoulder injury that could cost you the 2025 season? What team is dumb enough to take on that? I mean, I get it. Some quarterback-hungry teams like the Cleveland Browns come to mind, but, I mean, are you doing that? Like, this, again, like, if, I'm not saying Derek Carr is faking or not faking this injury. I don't know. He very well may be. I don't think it's because, like, he's trying to force a trade. Maybe he's just mad at the organization and just trying to put him in a bad spot in general. I kind of feel like your trade value would drop after this news of a shoulder injury came outside. I don't know about that either. But here's something interesting. Cody Benjamin of CBS Sports put this out Sunday night. So just a few days after Derek Carr's injury was announced. And he brought up Kirk Cousins. And if Kirk Cousins could be released, where could he go? He mentioned that the ultimate landing spot, his favorite, would be the Cleveland Browns. It's fine. Cleveland Browns have signed Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco. I don't think they're going to sign a third quarterback in the same offseason. I just don't see that happening. He mentioned that Cousins and Stefanski spent a little bit of time together in Minnesota before Stefanski took on that Cleveland Browns job. The next team he mentions is the Minnesota Vikings. I don't think the Vikings do this. One, I don't think they're going to trade for him and take on the big contract that Atlanta gave him. But let's say, for this argument, they cut Kirk Cousins. He's a free agent. He's no longer tied to the Atlanta Falcons. Even then, why would the Vikings make this move? They didn't go after Aaron Rodgers. mean, they talked to him, but they didn't really seriously pursue him because they said they like J.J. McCarthy. They moved on from Sam Darnold because they like J.J. McCarthy. And Kirk Cousins was already in your building. You didn't like him enough to re-sign him. You let him walk in free agency. Now that he had probably the worst year of his career, you're going to bring him back? I don't see that happening at all. The last team is obviously the most interesting. The last team that Cody Benjamin puts in there as a landing spot potentially for Kirk Cousins is the New Orleans Saints. Now, he does mention once again, the Falcons and the Saints are not going to trade with each other. I get it. You should not trade with your division rival. Let all the other teams in the NFL do that. Saints, Falcons, Bucks, Panthers, all of them should have that philosophy. But again, he's saying, okay, if he's outright released, could the Saints be a potential landing spot? And I started thinking about this like, okay, do I want Kirk Cousins with the New Orleans Saints as the next quarterback? Look, if Derek Carr is out with an injury, there's no question, at least proven-wise, Kirk Cousins is probably better than any other option you have this season. But does he make you better for the future? Not really. There's been a lot of discussion on this show about Kirko picks. Me, Jake, we have vastly different opinions of him. T-Bob kind of sits somewhere in the middle. Alondra's, I believe, more anti-Kirk than pro-Kirk. Look, we'll get their thoughts when they come back. We'll talk to all of them when they come back. I can appreciate that Kirk Cousins has done what he's done in his career. I think he's had a really good career. My point with Kirk Cousins has always been he is a very similar quarterback to Derek Carr, in my opinion. He's slightly better. I mean, because you go look at Kirk's numbers. Before last season, I mean, Kirk was really good. He was averaging 30 touchdown passes a season and about 9 picks a season for the last 5 in Minnesota. Really good numbers. However, he had a lot better weapons than Derek Carr as well. I mean, you went from Adam Thielen to Stephon Diggs. You lose Stephon Diggs. Everybody said, oh, well, what are the Vikings going to do? Enter a guy named Justin Jefferson. It's very easy to play with those weapons. And in that offense, look what Sam Darnold did last year. Is Kirk Cousins as bad as he was in Atlanta last year? 18 touchdowns, 16 picks? No. Is he as dominant as he was at times in Minnesota? No. I think he's somewhere in the middle. Do you bring in a quarterback that's not young, he's about the same age as Derek Carr, roughly, performed similar to Derek Carr? He hasn't had any playoff success. That was a big knock when you signed Derek Carr. Kirk Cousins doesn't really have any playoff success either. At least not any consistency. You're probably going to have to give him a somewhat decent contract. He's going to want a multi-year deal that you're probably not willing to do. So sure, Kirk Cousins is a big name. He would be an upgrade. One, you're taking the Atlanta Falcons as leftovers, which I know Saints fans are going to feel a certain way about. But also, what does Kirk Cousins give you that you don't already have? I mean, nothing. And I get it. Kirk had flashes last year. It was the overtime game where they beat the Bucks kind of halfway through the season. He threw for 500 yards in that game. But he's like, oh, Kirk Cousins finally getting into a rhythm in this offense. It just took a little while. He was benched like 3 weeks later. Penix came in, then they went back to Cousins, and then ultimately the last 3 games of the year, it was all Michael Penix. Kirk Cousins last year started 14 games. 67% completion, 3,500 yards. Okay, all that's fine. 18 touchdowns, 16 picks, and a 7-7 record. And that 7-7 record was against the New Orleans Saints, who had so many injuries, the Carolina Panthers, who are awful, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who had one of the worst defenses in the league. That's what Kirk Cousins did in the division. Now, he handled the Bucs, but again, one of the worst defenses in the league. That was a 500-yard game. As good as the Bucs' offense was, their defense was awful. Even when they were fully healthy, and they weren't healthy for most of the year. I'm going to say no thanks to Kirk Cousins. I know we talked about Aaron Rodgers a little bit yesterday. I said no thanks to him. I'm saying no thanks to Kirk Cousins as well. And I get it. You go look at the free agent market. There's not a ton out there. Maybe they do draft Shedeur Sanders. Maybe they take a quarterback that they really like in the 2nd and 3rd round, let them sit behind either Carr or Spencer Rattler this year. Or maybe they don't take a QB at all. They roll with Spencer Rattler. They get a high draft pick. They take a top flight QB in 2026 when there's a ton of them available. Whatever they decide to do, don't do this. And again, this was just one guy's thought that he had thrown out there. This was Cody Benjamin of CBS Sports. I get it. This is nothing concrete. There's no Kirk Cousins to New Orleans rumors. He just threw it out there, wanted to see how people respond. My response is, thanks, but no thanks. We're good over here in New Orleans. We don't need Kirk Cousins. We don't need Derek Carr 2.0. If you're going to do that, you might as well just tell Carr to suck it up and roll with him. So no thanks on Kirk Cousins right there. All right, look, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, Musso and I had this discussion the other day because a lot of people, LSU fans mainly, have been worried about Texas A&M. Oh, is Texas A&M back? Are they back? Are they back? They got a sweep this weekend. They beat Tennessee. Like, are they back? I don't think so. I mean, they beat South Carolina, but we got to look at the way they won that series. That's coming up here on the other side, here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
GetGordon.com. GetGordon.com is the website, and we tell you every single day, as soon as you go to the homepage, it's going to pull up. You can have a chat with them right there on the main page of the website. So any question, concern that you might have, remember, you can get a consultation set up right there on the homepage of that website. You can find cases they can handle for you in the courtroom, past client results, all right there on the homepage of the website. What are they doing in the community? Well, always something throughout the state of Louisiana. At Get Gordon is always going to be the handle on all major social media, so you can check that out as well. Because like we said, I mean, they're always doing something throughout the state. Speaking of throughout the state, if you want to pick up the phone and give them a call, it is your area code from Shreveport to Ruston, from Ruston to Lafayette, Lafayette to Baton Rouge, Newark, like wherever you're at, put your area code followed by 888-8888. Get Gordon and get it done.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet.
Welcome Welcome back to more sports talk with some other stuff mixed in. Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Shout out to the most aptly named men's health clinic, Goodwood Men's Health Clinic, yourgoodwood.com. Don't settle for mediocre in your sex life. Don't be like Tay-Tay, guys. Be better. Live your life without fear or embarrassment. It's erectile dysfunction. Maybe you got low T. You want some longevity and anti-aging solutions. The bottom line is you want Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. They're the absolute best. yourgoodwood.com. See what they can offer you today. yourgoodwood.com. Shout out Goodwood. Love having you on the team. You have personalized care, state-of-the-art treatments, confidential, and compassionate service. Okay, guys, we get it. We're guys, too.
How in the world can T-Bob Hebert take shots at me from beyond the grave? The guy's not even here, Musso. He's not even here.
He's not. Yeah, I just found the most recent Goodwood live, and that happened to be
that's all of them. That's all of them.
Just there. You okay up there? I mean,
I'm good. And so, most of the time, it's even more brash than that. If one of my family members is unfortunate enough to be listening at that time, and T-Bob will be like, "Are you limp like Taylor?
Yeah,
go to Goodwood and be a man." I'm just sitting there. I'm normally sitting where Cassie is, just minding my own business.
Yeah.
They
can help you over there, though, at Goodwood.
From
what I hear.
Look, there's one guy who normally is in the studio named T-Bob.
Yeah.
Who's been. Now, he said it was for something else. Me and Jake kind of had a different opinion.
Okay.
T-Bob was really interested in the penile enhancement.
Yes.
He said, I'm going and asking him what it is. And I'm like, T-Bob, why are you so interested, bud? But that's his thing.
Oh, man.
Moose, quick question. Is Texas A&M good?
Yeah, they're good. They're extremely talented. We know that. I mean, they were ranked preseason number 1. That's what was funny. They got off to the rough start.
Yep.
And everybody's like, what are they thinking ranking this team preseason number 1? Well, they were thinking they have literally everybody back from a team that
was runners up in the NAC.
Runner up in the NAC. They're really talented. Yeah. That part hasn't changed. The issue really was, okay, you don't have your same coaching staff anymore, and you just hired a first-time head coach because the players loved him. I will say this: Texas A&M's offense is back. They are hitting on all cylinders there, which was really the crux early. While their pitching was awesome, like it was supposed to be, their offense struggled. Now with their offense being back, their pitching is struggling. So for me, A&M's still not playing complete baseball yet. The series win against Tennessee is awesome. That stands out for sure. The sweep against South Carolina, good. You took care of business. You did what you were supposed to do. You needed extra innings to beat them in game number 1, and you were down 10 runs in game 3 and had to have a walk-off grand slam to complete that 10-run comeback. That shows you the pitching issues. Your ace, Ryan Prager, has an ERA of 6.75 in SEC games alone. That's not good. He gave up 5 earned to South Carolina. Your Sunday guy in SEC, Miles Patton, his ERA in conference play is over 7. Justin Lampkin, your middle guy, has been pretty darn good, but 2 out of the 3 in your rotation have struggled in SEC. You have Arkansas and Texas coming up. Let's see how both of those on the road, let's see how they do in those, because that's going to actually determine what A&M is playing for when LSU rolls in there the 3rd week of May.
Yeah, to your point. Okay. On Thursday, they got beat 8-7. It was a walk-off home run in extra innings. South Carolina gets blown out in game 2. I'll give A&M credit. They were 17-0. But again,
that's what
if you go look at the SEC standings, South Carolina's closer to the bottom.
Right.
That's what they're supposed to do. Game 3, South Carolina had a 12-3 lead in the bottom of the 7th, a 12-7 lead in the 9th. What do? They give up a grand slam to make it 12-11, then promptly surrender another grand slam, makes it 15-12. Did A&M win that game? Sure, but South Carolina had an incredible collapse twice in that series. I will give them credit for beating Tennessee. They won that series. I get it. Are they as bad as they were at the beginning of the year when they were losing every single series? No. Are they as dominant as people like to think they are now? No. I think they're somewhere in the middle. But that's just the team, and everybody's like, oh, well, Texas A&M was ranked first in preseason, and, they're awful. First off, Texas A&M being a little overrated in preseason, not shocking in any sport, but also they're not bad. They were never going to be as bad as they started this season for the entirety of it. Thing is, how good can they be? because they dug themselves in a really big hole. Now you're going to have to dig your way out of it to try to host a regional. You're going to have to dig your way out of this big hole. You look at LSU last year. LSU got out to a slow start. That's why you didn't advance very far in the postseason, because you weren't a host site. And Texas A&M, a little bit bigger hole than you were in a year ago. Sure, they're talented, but it's Michael Early's first year as the head coach of that program. I get it, you got returners, but you got to dig yourself out of a hole. Are they good? They're certainly better than they were at the beginning of the year. Are they dominant? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. South Carolina's not a very good baseball team, and it took multiple miracles for you to win that series. All right, look, that's going to do it for hour number one. A lot of baseball talk there in hour one. In hour two, want to kind of look at the quarterback situations for some other teams in the SEC. There's three teams I want to highlight. There's a good write-up about this on LouisianaSports.net. Alabama, Tennessee, and Auburn. We'll talk about that. Also, Would You Rather Wednesday coming up at 8:15. Stay tuned. We got a lot more. It's a Wednesday edition of Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Hey, they said I got to come off the bench.
Now, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Welcome in, hour number 2, Wednesday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp sitting in here for Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert in the big boy chair today and tomorrow. We got the dynamic duo on the other side, Matthew Musso, Cassie Spazzali on audio and video, and we are rocking and rolling here on this Wednesday morning. Really good first hour, baseball heavy. Right now, there's been a lot of talk about LSU's spring scrimmage, or whatever you want to call it, that was open to the fans on Saturday. Well, a few other teams in the SEC wrapped up their springs with an open practice on Saturday as well. And I want to look at them because, look, people can say what's going to happen with LSU's QB situation behind Garrett Nussmeier. And there's still some people out there who criticize Nussmeier about things that went on in 2024. And I'm here to tell you that you better be happy to have Garrett Nussmeier because you could be one of these 3 teams. The first team I want to start with is everyone's favorite, the Alabama Crimson Tide. After that scrimmage on Saturday, offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb went to the podium, and he was obviously asked about the play of all of his signal callers, and he said if we were to play a game today, Ty Simpson would start. Yes, the same Ty Simpson that could not beat out Jalen Milroe and Tyler Buckner. Tyler Buckner wound up leaving, going to Notre Dame, couldn't play quarterback there, went to play wide receiver, and then just said, to hell with it, I'm going to go play lacrosse. Ty Simpson could not beat him out. The same Jalen Milroe, who last year looked lost at times in the passing game. Ty Simpson couldn't beat him out. It's the same Ty Simpson who has done next to nothing in his college career. Now, there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, well, where's Nico going to go? He's not going to go to Alabama. I'll tell you that right now. Even if they wanted to bring him in, I don't think they would. You have Ty Simpson. You have Austin Mack, who you brought over, who kind of followed Kalen DeBoer from Washington. He's a talented guy, but he's played no college football. He's done absolutely nothing in his college career. And then you bring in 5-star Keelan Russell, which, okay, everyone's going to look at Keelan Russell and say, okay, well, Keelan Russell's a 5-star. It's typical in the Alabama line. We always talk about the Alabama bump. And I'm someone who's like, okay, yeah, the Alabama bump. You're also just mad because they steal all of your players. Keelan Russell was a 3-star quarterback when he committed to Alabama. By the time everything was said and done, he was a 5-star. Now, I get it. Guys are allowed to improve. But me, Musso, Cassie, anybody else in this building, you're not going to be able to go and be like, oh, this guy used to be a 3, but now he's clearly a 5. First off, I'm not going to be able to go out there on one Friday night and tell you the difference between a 3 and a 5-star. Most of you can't. That's why I think recruiting rankings are crap about half the time. But the fact that he's a 3-star, commits to Alabama, and then like 4 months later, after a pretty good senior year, he jumps all the way up to a 5. I've seen guys go from 3 to 4. I've seen guys go from 4 to 5. I have never seen someone go from a 3-star to a 5-star in like a 5-month period. I've never seen that. So you can say, okay, yeah, well, he's a 5-star freshman. Maybe. 5-star might be a little bit misleading. But right now, you would have Ty Simpson as your starting quarterback. I can't say that I'm shocked by that. I kind of figured this was going to be the situation. Because if you hear the reports out of Alabama, it's, well, he's not doing anything to light it up, but he's kind of the veteran guy in the room. He's controlling the offense. He's playing within the system. That's fine. You won national championships with Greg McElroy, A.J. McCarron, and Jacob Coker, and none of them were ever going to be NFL All-Pro type caliber guys. You were also a lot more talented top to bottom. You also had a lot more talent on offense around them. So I'm not so much as worried about the quarterback position, but how can the guys around them elevate the quarterback? We know about Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams is an excellent football player. Who they have outside of Ryan Williams? I get it. Justice Haynes was a little bit of a disappointment in Alabama his first 2 years. He was a solid back. He wasn't the stud that they wanted him to be, but he's gone. You have Jam Miller back at running back. That's great. You got Jeremy Bernard. He's probably going to be your number 2. You bring in Isaiah Horton, the transfer from Miami. Isaiah Horton had a solid year, but, I mean, is that really the guy that is going to help Ty Simpson look a lot better than he was. I don't know. I mean, Ryan Williams is certainly a special player. There is no question about it. Jeremy Bernard did some okay things last year. He showed flashes. And then you look at Isaiah Horton. In 3 years in Miami, Isaiah Horton, 70 catches, 790 yards, 6 touchdowns. 11.3 yards per catch. 27.2 yards per game in 3 years. And you can actually take 2022 out. He only played in 4 games. He had 1 catch for 6 yards. Okay, so let's say 70 catches, 790 yards, and 6 touchdowns in a 2-year stretch. I mean, still nothing to beat your chest about of, oh, we got another solid playmaker out here. And you can say, okay, well, he didn't have a good quarterback his first year. He had Cam Ward last year, and I get it. You had Isaiah Arroyo at tight end. You had Xavier Restrepo. You were competing for catches. He's a solid player, but, I mean, is that the one piece that's going to put Alabama over the top? No. So even if Ty Simpson plays over his head, how are the weapons or lack thereof at Alabama going to elevate Ty Simpson and get this team where they want to be? I just don't know if I see it. The next team I want to highlight is the Tennessee Volunteers because, let's be honest, this is the talk of the SEC, and rightfully so. Also, guys, I don't know if you saw this. We have updated the Nico Iamaleava situation ad nauseum. I'm not going to talk about it anymore outside of this. But you remember the report that he wanted somewhere near $4 million to stay at Tennessee. This is the kind of advice Nico's getting. Now that he's a quote-unquote free agent in college football and he's in the transfer portal, word is now they actually want well over $4 million. They're on the open market. They think they can get that. Look, you're a guy who's played 1 year of college football, under 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, 5 picks, and in your one college football playoff game, you completed 45% of your passes and you lost 45-17. That is the resume that you're bringing in the transfer portal. Back to Tennessee and the guys that are actually going to be there. At least during that spring game, it appears that true freshman George McIntyre is actually the leader in the clubhouse. LSU fans may remember the name George McIntyre. LSU was in on him for quite some time. They were actually considered the favorite to land him for a large period of time. I love his potential. He's a big kid. He's about 6'4". For his high school career, he threw for 8,293 yards, 62 touchdowns in 36 games. He had 9 rushing touchdowns as a senior. He was first-team All-State, Player of the Year finalist as a junior. I mean, you name it, George McIntyre's done it. Again, though, a lot like Alabama, you can be excited about George McIntyre. I just said I loved his potential. I really liked him when he was coming out of high school. Dylan Sampson's not there anymore. You didn't have the receiving core last year to help out Nico Iamaleava. How are you going to help out George McIntyre? And I don't think this is necessarily McIntyre's fault. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, Nico's gone. Tennessee's, their season's over. I didn't think they were going to be that great with Nico. But breaking in a true freshman quarterback in the SEC with very little offensive weapons around you is going to be a tough ask. Because, look, I just crapped all over Ty Simpson. At least Ty Simpson's been in this program for 3 years now. George McIntyre's 19 years old. You're putting a lot on that young man's plate. Now, will they dip into the portal and see if a quarterback pops up? Maybe. We haven't seen the final list of who's going to be in the portal, who's not. Maybe they do. Maybe they find some guy that nobody's talking about that they're absolutely in love with. But right now, it's just like Alabama. If the season started today, George McIntyre is probably their starter. As far as the Auburn Tigers go, they may have the best situation of the 3 teams I'm mentioning. You bring in Jackson Arnold from Oklahoma, Ashton Daniels, who was a starter at Stanford, and freshman Deuce Knight, who a lot of people love. Obviously, Jackson Arnold looks like the leader in that clubhouse. Now, he didn't practice on Saturday during that open practice because, it was a lingering injury, just a precaution, nothing major. But you still have Ashton Daniels, who has experience. You have the hotshot freshman in Deuce Knight. Also, you've added weapons in that transfer portal. That is something that the Auburn coaching staff has done a really good job of. You had Cam Coleman last year, who was really good as a freshman. He was a matchup problem. What do? You bring in Eric Singleton from Georgia Tech. This is a guy who had around 1,000 yards receiving last year, showed he could be a really explosive receiver. LSU showed some interest in Eric Singleton. I mean, that was a name that was brought up time and time again for any team when it was like, hey, which wide receiver can you go get in the portal? Eric Singleton was one of the top names out there. You pair him with a Cam Coleman. I think Jackson Arnold's actually going to have a lot of success at Auburn this year. I get it. He didn't really live up to the 5-star hype last year at Oklahoma. He was disappointing. But Oklahoma had no running game. We know that Nick Anderson basically was out before the season even started. Jackson Arnold had Bauer Sharp, but that's about all he had. His offensive line wasn't great. The running game was non-existent. And that's been the biggest knock on Brent Venables. I'm sure Venables is a defensive coach, but you have to have some semblance of an offense, and they didn't have it out there at Norman. I think under this coaching staff, they're offensive centered. I think Jackson Arnold could have a successful year. But look, I bring up all those different quarterback situations. Alabama, Tennessee, Auburn. I mean, Tennessee was a playoff team last year. Auburn was right in the thick of it. Alabama was right in the thick of it. Auburn looks like, they're getting a lot of hype going into the 2025 season. Anyone who wants to criticize Garrett Nussmeier and LSU in this offense for whatever you see in 2025, take a look at these three teams. Look, you have a returning quarterback who had one of the best first years that you have seen here in Baton Rouge. I think you're actually better at receiver this year than you were last year. Even when losing Mason Taylor at tight end. Because you have Aaron Anderson back, you have Xavion Thomas back. You bring in Nick Anderson, Barry Brown. Francis is the freshman coming in. He's got a lot of potential. Bauer Sharp's going to play a lot. Trades Green. You lose Mason Taylor, but those two guys combined, I think you're going to be fine at tight end. Now, will Garrett Nussmeier take that second-year jump like a Joe Burrow or Jaden Daniels? I don't know. That's a lot to ask. But so many people last year criticized Garrett Nussmeier and being like, well, he's not Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels. Yeah, no kid. Very few people are. But what I thought was unfair was that they were comparing first-year Garrett Nussmeier to second-year Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels. Look at Nussmeier's first year as a full-time starter. 64% completion, 4,000 yards, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Joe Burrow, first year starting at LSU, 57% completion, 2,900 yards, 16 touchdowns, 5 picks. So the turnovers were very good. There was only 5 of them. The touchdowns weren't quite there. Jaden Daniels in his first year. Now, obviously, you got to take into consideration Jaden's ability to run. I understand that. That's something that Burrow had a little bit of. As far as we know, Nussmeier doesn't really have any of it all. As far as passing, Jaden Daniels, 68% completion, so that was fine. 2,900 yards, 17 touchdowns, 3 picks. You get the point. I get it. He turned the ball over a lot. He had 12 interceptions. He didn't take off and run quite as much as everybody wanted him to when the pocket collapsed. There's certainly things to work on, but raw numbers-wise, Garrett Nussmeier's right there. And I'm not saying he's going to take a second-year jump like a Jaden Daniels or a Joe Burrow, but he could. He's got more weapons than he had last year. There's obviously a lot of question marks on the offensive line, but if you can shore that up, I think you might even be better at running back. Because you got Durham and Jackson back, but Harlem Berry, who's looked really good in spring practice. JT Lindsey's coming in the fall. I think you're fine at tight end. I mentioned Bauer Sharp and Trades Green. I think they'll be good to go. If you can fix the offensive line and make them a really good unit, this offense could be as good as anybody in the country. And I think that a guy like Garrett Nussmeier is going to be a big part of that, obviously. So I'm not saying he's going to take a Burrow or a Daniels jump in year 2. I'm saying he's got all the pieces around him to do just that. You're under Joe Sloan for a second year. You're a returning starter in the SEC. You got your feet wet last year. You worked out a lot of the kinks and the issues. Looked really good in the bowl game. I get it. He threw that bad interception. I know that was on him. But outside of that, he looked really good in the bowl game. He looked good against Vandy. He looked really good against Oklahoma. As bad as that 3-game stretch was from Garrett Nussmeier and really the entire LSU team, you lose to A&M, then you go Alabama, Florida. I get it. That was not great football. But the last 3 games of the year, Vandy, Oklahoma, and then the bowl game against Baylor, Garrett Nussmeier looked as good as any quarterback in college football. We'll see what he does this year, but look, there's a lot of talk about, Nuss is just going to throw a lot of picks and all this. Look around the SEC, guys. Alabama, Tennessee, Auburn, they'd love to have Garrett Nussmeier. You got him. You got a lot of weapons around him. We'll see what he does here in 2025. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, we're going to kind of get away from sports a little bit. I like to do this every time I fill in for Jake and T-Bob on a Wednesday. It's something we used to do on OTB, got away from it. I'm going to do a Would You Rather Wednesday. I got a few questions ready. Get your Would You Rather Wednesday questions in the chat as well. Me, Musso, Cassie, we're going to have a little fun. Coming up here on the other side, here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
TrashRangers.com, TrashRangers.com. Bottom left of the website, you can sign up for residential service. Right in the middle of the website, commercial service. And then in the bottom right, sign up for that roll-off dumpster. Now, if you don't know what size roll-off dumpster you need, you've got a project at your home or your business, you pick up the phone, you give Trash Rangers a call. That is 225-363-9053. Hey, here's what I got going on. What do you think I need? And they're going to make sure you have the right size dumpster for your job. And look, I am jealous if you get to work with Trash Rangers because so many different things that they do for you, the customer. That's what they're all about. And that's why they're in the community so many different times. And you'll see them, support youth baseball teams, basketball, like whatever it is. They're all about you. Reliable and hassle-free trash removal services here in South Louisiana. Again, go to the website today to sign up, trashrangers.com.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all.
Welcome back to more sports talk with some other stuff mixed in. Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Go to coolprohvac.com. Coolprohvac.com. Go with the local HVAC experts. And I mean local, okay? Locally owned and operated. This ain't no private equity bull crap. And remember, when you work with Cool Pro, no dispatch fees. So if you are just wanting to get your system checked out before the heat kicks in, right, and make sure that you're not going to have any sort of catastrophic breakdown, don't let it stop you because, like, well, what if I call them and they come out and there's nothing wrong, right? Well, no dispatch fee. You don't have that concern with Cool Pro. Go to coolprohvac.com today.
Yeah, one of the cool things that we talk about with them is 1-hour windows when they're coming to your home or business. how many times you've been there sitting there all day because it's 6 to 8 hour windows, and if they even show up, right, you've wasted all day waiting. That is not the case. 1 hour wait times. You can see exactly where the tech is. CoolProHVAC.com.
All right, welcome back in. Wednesday edition of Off the Bench. What I wanted to do right now, I get it. Look, everybody in the chat always asks, where's T-Bob? We need to hear about the latest celebrity gossip and the other nonsense that he yells about. So what I try to do is one non-sports segment every single day. We're going to do it here. We're going to do a little Would You Rather Wednesday. It's something we used to do here on OTB. I like to do it every time I fill in. If it happens to be on a Wednesday, I got a few questions ready. We'll see if more and more come in through the chat. Guys, I will ask them, and I will go to you guys first. Would you rather go to space or the bottom of the ocean?
Space. I'd rather go to space.
Okay.
Space. Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to be 3 for 3 on space.
Yeah.
The bottom of the ocean seems like the most terrifying place in the entire world.
I agree.
I mean, like, at least if you're in space, you got something to look at. You can't see 3 inches in front of your face in the bottom of the ocean. And what do they say? Like, okay, you see all the terrifying creatures that are already in the ocean, right? They're like, okay, well, we've only discovered like 7% of the ocean. But what the hell else is out there that we don't know about? Like, at least in space, like, I got some sort of a view. I can float around. It might be kind of fun. I mean, you know, until I ultimately perish, but it might be kind of fun. But yeah, no, I am out on deep sea exploration. That is something that I have zero interest in. Musso, this one's for me and you, and I think I know our answers. Would you rather be a fill-in host for the morning show or the afternoon show?
Yeah, the afternoon show. It's not even close, man. I not a morning person. Although we were talking in the break, we have crossed the threshold of, like, I mean, I would be awake at this point in the morning now, and probably for about 40 minutes or so. But still, the first alarm this morning went off at like 4:40.
Yeah,
so
that's not a great feeling.
No, that's not fun for me at all.
The worst feeling is, like, not even when the alarm goes off. It's going to sleep, but you set the alarm and you're checking what time you set it. That is the worst feeling in the world.
No, yeah, that's true. That absolutely sucks. A little part of me died last night whenever I had to set the 4:40 alarm, and then like the 4:50, and then the 5. So,
Cassie, this one actually is probably the best for you because, like, my answer is obviously going to be the morning show because I'm someone who likes to keep the same schedule. I'm already here in the morning anyways. I don't hit traffic on the way home usually, unless something incredibly rare happens, which is kind of the norm here in Baton Rouge. But what would your answer be?
Definitely the afternoon show.
But you seem like such a morning person.
I think we all know that I'm not a morning person at all. I'm still struggling to keep my eyes awake, and the show started at 7. It's rough.
We were talking about this the other day. Would you rather be a professional singer, actor, or athlete?
Oh, singer, 100%. Yeah, no, we were talking about this yesterday, and I said, or the other day, and I said that, like, if I could choose one talent in the world to have, it would be singing. Like, that would be awesome.
I agree, Cassie.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, well, we can't all pick singer, but you know what? We're going to all pick singer. But I'm picking it for a different reason. One, like to Musso's point, yeah, having the talent to sing. Also, you can, like, pick up gigs really anywhere. If you learn how to play the piano or the guitar, like, that helps you as well. But also, if I'm a professional singer and, like, I make it big time, the rush when you're about to walk out on stage in a sold-out arena has to be just phenomenal.
But I feel like some could say the same for an actor or an athlete.
It does, but here's where it differs. Okay? Here's where it differs. When you're singing one of your big hits and you stop and the rest of the crowd sings it word for word and doesn't miss a beat, that's got to be one of the biggest honors you can have. Like, for me, like, those two particular reasons, like, it's singer for me all the way. Like, sure, every, you know, kid growing up, like me, Musso, anybody, like, they all grew up like, oh, I want to be a professional athlete when I grew up. But, like, you can be a singer a lot longer. You don't get injured as much being a singer. Like, the singer has a longer shelf life. And a lot of singers ultimately get into movies anyways. So I'm going singer right there. Okay, would you rather only eat dessert or never eat dessert again?
Only eat dessert.
Okay, big dessert. Okay, but Cassie, that means no Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, but Chick-fil-A's got milkshakes.
Oh, she got
There's
you there.
There's not chicken in them.
So?
Okay, so you just like the aura of Chick-fil-A. It doesn't even have to be chicken.
Not necessarily.
That's a hard one because I don't want to eat dessert
for
every meal for the rest of my life. but I also don't want to have to give up dessert entirely. So that's actually really difficult. But because I don't want to give up dessert entirely, I guess I have to eat dessert, which doesn't sound fun at all.
So I'm actually going to go the other way. I can do without dessert. Like, I like dessert, but it's kind of always my least favorite part of the meal. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I will throw down on a chocolate cake, an apple pie, like whatever it is. But I like my savory foods way too much. Like, I don't think I could deal with sweets like every day for the rest of my life. I'm actually going to go opposite of you guys. I'm cool with never having dessert again. I don't want to only, like, I love pizza. I love burgers, all that. Like, I'd rather have all of that and not have dessert than, like, get dessert, but, like, have to give up every single thing. I love seafood, big seafood fan. Can't have that if I only do dessert. No, this is an easy one for me. I'm never eating dessert again.
Well, you're a psycho.
Would you rather win the Super Bowl or win the Masters?
Oh, man. That's a tough one. You know, I'm going to go with the Masters, and here's why.
Yeah.
Not just the aura of it and everything that surrounds the tournament. I mean, we all understand that. You hear it so often with the Super Bowl. Even if you win it, there's no guarantee you can go back. You win the Masters, you get to go back every year. It's a guarantee.
Well, you get to have your own Masters dinner, too.
A dinner, you get to play in the tournament for as long as you want, as long as you live, for the rest of time, and it just becomes a part of you forever. Not that a Super Bowl doesn't. It's just there is no guarantee of more, success or a return to the Super Bowl. Winning a Super Bowl would be absolutely awesome. Both immortalize you, but because of everything that kind of comes with the Masters, or like surrounding the tournament,
yeah,
I'm gonna go with the Masters.
Cassie, what we got?
I was going to go with Super Bowl, but I think Musso kind of convinced me to go to Masters. Because I'm not a golf person, so I don't really know much about the Masters. But, I mean, that after Masters dinner would be really nice. And I think you convinced me to switch to Masters.
So, it would depend on what position I play in football. If I am a quarterback that wins the Super Bowl, you are forever a legend of the game. No question about it. If I'm like an offensive lineman or defensive lineman, 10 years from now, nobody's even going to remember that I won the Super Bowl. Also, like, when you see a guy in college win the Heisman Trophy, you got all the old Heisman winners standing behind him. I mean, it's a shrine. It's a fraternity of greatness. That's kind of how I view the Masters. I view the Masters more like winning the Heisman than I do winning the Super Bowl, which you could say, okay, well, you're clearly picking Super Bowl. Not necessarily, because you're in that group forever. You will forever have that green jacket. You get to pick the Masters dinner, like Musa mentioned. You get to come back next year, and everybody's going to be pointing, hey, look, there's a returning champion right there. Can anybody get this guy? Look, as big of a fan as I am of football, like, would I rather go to the Super Bowl or the Masters? Super Bowl for me, because you get the halftime show. It's a spectacle and everything. As far as winning, I think I'm actually going to take the Masters as well, guys. I mean, I think that's the way to go. All right, we'll get a few more in here. Would you rather binge watch a TV show or watch one episode every single week?
Binge watch a TV show, absolutely.
I can do both. It doesn't. I really honestly don't have a preference there. I mean, with certain shows like on Netflix, obviously binge. But I mean, I watched Yellowstone weekly for the entire 4 or 5
I know a lot of people did that with like Walking Dead and all that.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't have a preference. I can take it or leave it with both.
I'm actually gonna go binge watching a TV show. Like, Musso is a very patient person, I have figured out.
I'm not. That's hilarious.
In certain areas, I feel like you're the type of guy that could like not here, like not when something goes wrong, but like I feel like outside of work, like you don't have to have like you can be a scheduled person outside of work. I'm so scheduled here, I can't. I cannot take the time to sit down every single one night a week for the same exact time and do it. Like, I will intentionally wait. Like, okay, there's a new show out called Mobland with Tom Hardy. And it's very similar to, like, Peaky Blinders and all that. And my brother, my dad, they're all watching it. They're like, hey, you got to check out Mobland. I'm like, how many episodes? They're like, like 2 or 3. I was like, I'll wait for the first season to come out. Like, I'm good. Like, I can't. I'd rather just sit there, devote one afternoon to it, watch the entire thing. Like, I don't think I can sit down the same time every single week and devote it. I would forget. Then I would be an episode behind. Then I'd have to wait for it. Like, I'm good with just binge watching.
You know what I just learned?
What'd you just learn?
You know nothing about me.
No. Obviously, at work. No, okay. Guys,
No, I'm not scheduled outside of work.
You seem like you could be.
I could be, but I like to just kind of do nothing most of the time when I'm not here. Now, it doesn't always work because I don't do well doing nothing. I have to, like, always do something. So
that's where I'm at. Okay.
I normally find things to do, but it's, no.
No, not here. So, okay. Everybody out there listening, me, Musso, and Cassie, our desks are kind of all right next to each other, right outside in this hallway. And, me and Cassie will be sitting there, and Musso's a little bit away, and I'll hear Musso, like, hit his hand down on something or yell
always
something.
Grunting or
and I'm like,
complaining about something.
And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm thinking, like, catastrophe. I'm like, Musso, what's wrong? My computer won't print. I'm like,
yeah,
hey, man,
well,
we're okay.
Look, man.
But he's got to get it done.
We work on deadline, and a lot of the time that happens, it's like 2:50.
Yeah, it's true. It's 10 minutes before EF4 starts.
Yeah.
I get it. All right, look, that's going to do it for Would You Rather Wednesday. Wanted to kind of get away from the sports talk. I know that's, we try to do that on OTB. I try to do one a show. Okay, I'm not going to be like T-Bob and have like the whole first hour just about whatever pops into my head. But look, when we come back, Zach Nagy's going to hop on with us. He was at practice yesterday. We'll get a practice report. We'll get his thoughts on the open scrimmage that occurred last Saturday and maybe what LSU could do in the transfer portal. That's all coming up on the other side here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
Go to Cool Pro H. Go to Pelican Roofing, pelicanroof.com. Pelicanroof.com is a website where you get in touch with South Louisiana's most trusted roofing experts. Okay, the guys that have over 500. Oh, God. I almost threw up. 500 five-star reviews. Almost threw up a brand new freaking roof at a very affordable price with a great process from answering the phone to even the dedicated project manager on every single site to the cleanup, because that's the attention to detail, the focus on your job that you get when you work with Pelican Roof.
Go to pelicanroof.com today, and you can see those reviews that we talk about. Over 500 five-star reviews. You can get everything scheduled. You can see some of the projects they've done in the Lafayette area, in the Baton Rouge area. Remember, they are in both communities, offices in both locations, Lafayette and Baton Rouge. Go to the website today, pelicanroof.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support.
Welcome to the 7th ranked morning sports show in America. Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Welcome back in. Wednesday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp here with you, sitting in for Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Right now, we're going to go out to the phone lines. Welcome in Zach Nagy covering the LSU Tigers for SI. Zach, what's going on, man?
Good morning, Taylor. How we doing? Doing good on this end.
Yeah, doing good. We were going to have you on yesterday, but it turns out that Brian Kelly actually let you guys extend your stay a little bit out there in the practice field. Let's kind of dive into that right now. Like, what was your main takeaway from practice yesterday, the first one you guys got to see after that spring scrimmage?
Yeah, I think most importantly, Taylor, it's about evaluating this offensive line and getting the opportunity to see the rotations that they continue to throw out there. Obviously, we've seen DJ Chester kind of rolling with the ones at the center spot. That's going to be a position battle that cruises all the way leading up to week 1 at Clemson. So getting the opportunity to sit back, evaluate that offensive line, see who they're rolling with, who they're going to continue to work with this summer. And that's kind of the major takeaway yesterday. It's kind of the same thing over and over again that we begin to see. But nonetheless, opportunity to check out the O-line, see the defensive line, see Sadir Mitchell back on the field. Just a couple of little takeaways that we had the chance to see yesterday morning.
Speaking of the offensive line, I'm glad you mentioned that. I actually talked about that earlier in this show. Look, the two big transfers that came in was Braylon Moore and Josh Thompson. I mean, do you think both of those guys are going to get that starting spot, or is this a legitimate battle for those guys to earn that job?
I think this O-line is just kind of a big old puzzle that you got to put together, and you have a couple of months to do so, but you have a ton of versatile pieces that you can throw in the mix there. Obviously, like you said, Josh Thompson, and that's the epitome of a versatile piece up front. He can play guard, he can play tackle. Right now, they've been throwing him in with the second team at that right tackle spot behind Weston Davis. I think ultimately when things come down to it week 1 at Clemson, he's going to be a guard for this team. I think his interior spot is where he's thrived the most. I think it's where he has the chance to be most successful under Brad Davis. So for me, I think there's an opportunity for him to start come week 1 at the guard spot. Braylon Moore and DJ Chester, that's a true battle right there. They've been going at it for the last couple of weeks. It's going to continue to trickle into the rest of the offseason as well. But I don't think you brought in a guy like Braylon Moore to sit on the bench. I think this is a guy who's going to continue to battle and continue to do what he needs to do in order to be on the field come week 1. But those two guys, man, I think they have an opportunity to obviously be up front and be in that starting 5.
As far as the scrimmage goes on Saturday, I mean, scrimmage, spring game, whatever you want to call it, it was kind of the extended action we got to see. I mean, if you were out there, you saw full team 11 on 11, you saw 7 on 7, goal line, red zone. I mean, you saw a little bit of everything. What was maybe your biggest takeaway, like positive or negative, offensively or defensively? Like, what was your biggest takeaway when you left? You're like, okay, maybe wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, Taylor, because I'm going to sound like a casual here, but it's the edge rushers unit.
Yeah.
I think everybody's been raving about them for good reason. Everybody's been talking about how talented they are, the depth there. And like I said, it's for all good reason. It starts with the trio of newcomers, Florida State's Patrick Payton, Florida's Jack Pyburn, Nebraska's Jamari Butler. Those trio of newcomers have looked the part during camp, and it trickled into that open event on Saturday in Tiger Stadium. Those three are going to wreak havoc this season. I'm excited to see how it pans out for them. And then you throw in Gabriel Relaford, who's returning for his second season with the program. Brian Kelly's raved about him time and time again, how he's going to be very important in stopping the run in 2025. So when you kind of look at those quote-unquote standouts during that event and really all throughout camp, Taylor, it's going to be about that edge rushers unit. I think they've looked sensational. Kevin Peoples has pieced together a really talented 2-deep depth chart. And this is about continuing to get that continuity, that chemistry flowing throughout the rest of camp. Leading up to week 1 again at Clemson, man, it's one of the biggest games, I think, in a very, very long time for LSU, clearly. And you're going to need that defensive front to be able to stop Cade Klubnik. When it comes down to it, that edge rushers unit has lived up to the hype so far. It's about continuing to have a very, very positive offseason.
Zach, I know this day and age in college football, like things can change drastically between the end of spring and the beginning of fall. But like today, what do you think the deepest position for this LSU team is?
It's a great question, and it's the wide receiver unit. I think they're extremely talented, and I know we just talked a little bit about the defense. It's important to talk about the offense and the pieces that they have right there, and it starts with that wide receiver unit, whether it's going to be Chris Hilton, who had a fantastic catch yesterday during live work from Garrett Nussmeier, just a fantastic play. And again, he's had a fantastic offseason. It's about bringing that into the regular season. We've heard it time and time again. It's just about staying healthy. So ultimately, the wide receiver unit is the group that I've been looking at that's the deepest on the entire team. Starts with Chris Hilton, Aaron Anderson, Xavier Thomas. That's been the trio that's been working with the ones. Look at the twos. You got Nick Anderson, Barry and Brown, even a Kyle Parker, Destin Hill. Taylor, you could throw out 7 receivers any Saturday, and you have the opportunity to be successful and not skip a beat. You have a talented unit right there. Cortez Hankton has a really good problem, and that's a ton of talent. And it's about how he's going to have to divvy up the snaps in 2025. I'm excited to see how it pans out. Garrett Nussmeier has been working with an embarrassment of riches during camp. He's got that unit looking the part. It's about continuing to ripple into the rest of the offseason and have that work out.
Look, there's always been a lot of talk about the receiver room, and we know LSU is always going to have a bunch of receivers. I want to kind of shift to the tight end room here a little bit because you lose a great talent in Mason Taylor, but you have Trey'Dez Green back. By all accounts, Bauer Sharp has been excellent in spring. How do you think the combination of Bauer Sharp and Trey'Dez Green, like how can they coexist in this offense?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think Bauer Sharp's been one of the winners of camp. I mean, he's been sensational. He's dynamic. He's a great pass catcher, can put his hands in the dirt and be an efficient blocker. I think when you talk about a guy like Trey'Dez Green, he's not necessarily a polished blocker just yet heading into year 2. We know he's more of a receiving threat as a tight end. So I think just that dynamic of both of them together is a really positive sign for this team. I think they are a really solid 1-2 punch. We know that Trey'Dez Green, that 5-star top tight end in America, that guy that has really, really lived up to the hype so far during camp. We've been excited to see it. It's about continuing, once again, to have a good rest of the offseason. And then you look at a guy like Bauer Sharp, a guy who's coming in from Oklahoma, led the team in receptions and receiving yards. He's proven to be a receiving threat himself, but he also gives the ability to have a safety net, put his hands in the dirt and then peel off and catch a short pass in the backfield if need be. That's what Mason Taylor's specialty was last season, kind of being that safety net for Garrett Nussmeier, those short chunk yard plays when need be. I think Bauer Sharp can really give an opportunity to continue to carry that into 2025 where Garrett Nussmeier doesn't have to skip a beat after losing Mason Taylor. Then you throw in the versatile aspect of Trey'Dez Green. It's a recipe for success. I think they have a really good opportunity to be a solid tight end room in 2025.
So we've talked pretty positively so far about how deep the receiving core is, how good the tight ends looked. Zach, biggest question mark for this team in your eyes, like going into fall camp?
Yeah, I think it's easy to sit back and talk about the positives of this team and the depth that they have in a bunch of different rooms. But the one quote-unquote concern and the one spot that I'm intrigued to see if they utilize this spring window in the transfer portal is going to be at that safety room. And again, I think that's one that a lot of people are talking about. It's the spot that might have the least amount of competition in that room, the least amount of depth. You've thrown in North Carolina State's Marcus Cooley, a guy who's thrived in the ACC. It's about upping the competition level and continuing to handle business in the SEC. And then you look at the other guys who are quote-unquote not proven. Deshaun Spears, Joel Rogers, Javian Toviano. Those are the 4 that have really rounded out that room during spring camp while Jordan Gilbert nurses that shoulder injury. So there's a lack of competition in that room, and there's really a lack of depth. I mean, you got 4 guys that are solid, but you don't have that experienced piece who's dominated at the Power 4 level so far. So Marcus Cooley's handled business, but he hasn't necessarily dominated. So for me, I think it's just a matter of going in and potentially getting another guy in the portal to add to that room and try to up the competition, up the talent level. You got some Marcus Cooley, who's a fantastic defensive back, but can you get somebody else next to him as well that can really balance out the secondary and give them kind of a nice core moving into 2025? I think that safety room might be that one quote-unquote question mark for this team.
Now, Zach, if they don't go into the portal and they don't add another safety, and I agree with you, I thought they were going to add 2 in that first portal window, but if they don't, let's say they roll with Marcus Cooley and the other guys they got, let's assume Cooley gets one of those starting spots. Who do you like next to him?
Yeah, it's a great question. And Brian Kelly's talked about not really necessarily hitting the portal with force during the spring window. So you might be dealing with what you got right now. And you throw into Marcus Cooley in one of those spots. And at the other side, Javian Toviano has been getting a lot of reps with the one. I just want to see Deshaun Spears take that next step, man. I think he's got all the intangibles. He's got the length. He's got the physical tools. It's just about getting a little bit more aggressive and continuing to become more of a heavy hitter. I think Deshaun Spears has a chance to line up next to him, of course, next season. Just a matter of if he takes that next step. If you were to tell me right now who I think it would be, it'd be Javian Toviano based off the reps that he's been getting with the ones during camp. But if I really want to see somebody take that next step and quote-unquote surprise some people, it's going to be Deshaun Spears.
Before we get you out of here, Zach Nagy joining us right now. Your thoughts about the interior D-line? I mean, everybody talks about the edge rushers, how great they look. Look, Kyle Williams is coming in, your new D-line coach. What have you seen from the interior right there on the D-line?
Yeah, again, a really good question, Taylor. And for me, obviously Ahmad Breaux and Dominic McKinley are those two guys that have been getting reps with the ones. Your sophomores, your kind of rising stars from a season ago. Ahmad Breaux exceeded expectations. Dominic McKinley came on towards the back end of the season. Those are two guys that are going to have some lofty expectations heading into this year. You got to stop the run. It's all about stopping the run, stopping those mobile quarterbacks. Obviously, it starts up front in the trenches. You got to have those guys dominate. So for me, during camp so far, you've been seeing a heavy dose of that 1-2 punch inside of McKinley and Breaux. Throw in Sadir Mitchell, the Texas transfer, who to me has had one of the better camps so far on this defensive unit. I think Sadir Mitchell has the chance to take some impactful snaps in 2025. Next to him with the twos has been Sean Washington. Really intrigued to see how that 2-deep depth chart shakes out. I think those are the four names to obviously monitor. But don't sleep on a guy like Zion Williams, a true freshman who's really emerged, in my opinion. He has the physical tools. He looks the part inside. Doesn't look like an early enrollee. This is a guy who looks physically capable of making an impact as a true freshman. It's just a matter of if Kyle Williams wants to throw him in the fire early. But nonetheless, you got some talent up front. And obviously McKinley and Breaux are two names to monitor. But don't sleep on guys like Sadir Mitchell, of course, as Zion Williams. And then you're kind of veteran in the room right now is Sean Washington. Those are the guys to watch as Jacoby and Guillory continues to get back in the mix himself.
Zach Nagy, before we get you out of here, where can people find more of your stuff?
Absolutely. For me, you can go to the personal page on Twitter or X. That's at ZNagy20. The LSUSI page on Twitter or X, whichever one you want to call it, is at LSU Tigers SI. If you're not on social media, go to Google, Safari, whichever search engine you use, and punch in LSUSI, LSU Sports Illustrated, and you'll see all things you need, LSU football, baseball, basketball, recruiting, purple and gold related. We got it on the site, so make sure to check it out.
Zach, thanks for hopping on with me today.
Absolutely. Have a good one, Taylor.
Yep, that was Zach Nagy, covers LSU Tigers for Sports Illustrated. All right, we're going to take a timeout. We get back. A little bit of a shorter segment. We're going to close out hour number 2 of Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
Go to Boudreaux's Electrical. Boudreaux's Electrical.com. You want a Generac home generator? Why don't you go to the place that's been family owned and operated since 1982? More power, more protection, better service. Every customer treated like a VIP. Keep the lights on during this storm season. Great financing options available to make it very affordable until you have that peace of mind. Is it worth $159 a month? Because that's what we talking about, man. Go to Boudreaux'Electrical.com. Boudreaux'Electrical.com.
Yeah, when you go to the website, you can get a free quote right there, top right corner of the website. Also, you can pick up the phone, give them a call. Let them know what you're looking for. They're going to come out to your home and make sure that they get it done on the North Shore. That number is 985-397-1562. In the greater Baton Rouge area, 225-300-9389. Always online at Boudreaux'Electrical.com. More power, more protection.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
There it is, the extra mile. on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Welcome back to the best morning sports show around. Sorta. It's Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Welcome back in. Final segment, hour number 2, Wednesday edition of Off the Bench. A little bit of a shorter segment here. Thanks, Zach Nagy, for his time. Coming up in hour number 3, we're going to have Ali Cosell hop on with us to talk some New Orleans Pelicans. They have a lot going on right now. We'll also talk about a veteran cornerback, see if the Saints have any interest there, and then we'll close it out with Ask the Bench. Right now, though, got a few minutes. I do want to mention that Scone mentioned this on AFR a little bit yesterday. LSU has added Eric Hill to its support staff as the new director of high school relations. This was confirmed to LouisianaSports.net. Shay Dixon of 1-3 first reported this news. Look, if you follow any sports here in Louisiana, you know Eric Hill. I mean, he served as the director of the Louisiana High School Coaches Association since 2019. And prior to that, he spent 25 years as a teacher and a coach here in the state of Louisiana. Look, if he is the director of high school relations, I don't think you could have hired a more perfect guy. First off, he's here in the state of Louisiana. LSU builds their recruiting. Look, whether they dip in any school from the transfer portal, their foundation is still the state of Louisiana. That's where LSU goes first. Eric Held is a guy that knows the coaches. He knows all the athletes. So if you're putting on summer camps, if you're putting on coaching clinics, Eric Held, this is as simple as a phone call for him. I mean, he's been around. I talked about 25 years as a teacher and coach in this state, and he's been director of the High School Coaches Association since 2019. He knows some people. Look, he was a Brother Martin graduate. He played football at Nichols. He was a special teams captain, so like maybe, look, can he help out with LSU special teams? I get it. You have analysts and support staff, but now you can have whoever you want on the sidelines during games. Like, make no mistake about it, one of Brian Kelly's biggest Achilles heels since he's been here at LSU has been special teams. Maybe Coach Held can help with that. He was at St. Michael's. He was the head coach there. He was on Catholic staff, on their football staff during the team's first state championship back in 2015. This is a guy that has been a lot of places. He's well connected, and he's had success everywhere he's been. And if you meet Eric Held, if you ever have the pleasure of doing so, I have met Eric Held, you're not going to find a more personable guy. Great personality. Coaches love him. The players love him. He did a great job with Louisiana high school athletics for a number of years. This is a perfect hire for LSU. Again, I'll go back to it. LSU sets up a lot of coaches' clinics. Eric Held's great at that. He'll be great at setting up summer camps and 7-on-7 camps and anything else you need looking at athletes. And this is the guy to do it. I don't think there could have been a more perfect hire for Director of High School Relations than Coach Eric Held. All right, that'll do it for hour number 2. Coming up in our third hour, Ali Cosell is going to hop on with us, Pelicans Insider. He's going to talk Here's a reaction to the firing of David Griffin. Thoughts on Joe Dumars as the new VP out there in New Orleans. What does this mean for Willie Green? The Pelicans' chances in the draft lottery. We're going to get into it all. I know we're not typically a Pelicans-heavy show, but the news cycle, they are dominating that lately. We'll get into Saints possibly adding a DB because Jalen Ramsey asked the Miami Dolphins for a trade. We'll see if the Saints are interested and if they should be interested. Also, everyone's favorite quarterback in the state of Louisiana, Derek Carr, has a new YouTube channel. We'll play you a clip of that, guys. It's as good as you think it is. And we'll close things out with a little bit of Ask the Bench. So still got a lot to do here on a Wednesday edition of OTB. Recapping hours 1 and 2. Hour 1, we were very baseball heavy. Hour 2, more LSU football. Zach Nagy hopped on with us. We got one more hour to go. Stay tuned. Again, we're talking Saints. We're talking Pelicans. We're closing things out with Ask the Bench. Stay tuned. We got that coming up here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the bench.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
They said I gotta come off the bench.
Now, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Welcome in hour number 3, Wednesday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp sitting in for our normal dynamic duo of Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. We got Matthew Musso. We got Cassie Spazzali along for the ride as well. Kicking off hour number 3 here. The New Orleans Pelicans are dominating the news cycle right now. And I want to bring in Ali Cosell, Pelicans insider, get his thoughts on it. Ali, how are you this morning?
Good morning, Taylor. Yes, there's a lot of news flying. It's not surprising. Second worst record in franchise history. Nobody was happy about it.
Let me get your initial thoughts. Like you just mentioned, second worst record in franchise history. What were your initial thoughts on that David Griffin firing?
Not surprised. He had been here 6 years. The Pelicans, that is, had only achieved the playoffs just twice, and those are quick exits. And then you tied yourself to Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson, a duo that only played 154 games together during a stretch where I think David Griffin oversaw 472 games. So when you're only available for 33% of the time, that's not a recipe for success. And that's why I think the largest reason why the Pelicans floundered, right? All those injuries. But like I said, you adhered yourself to two players that are just not durable enough to where you can entrust them to lead this team. So everything pointed to he was just going to have to go.
You know, Pelicans fans didn't have a ton of time to dwell on that David Griffin firing because it was reported that the Pelicans already closing in on a deal to make Joe Dumars the next guy to take over that role. What are your thoughts on Dumars? I mean, it seems like a quick hire, and a lot of people are like, hey, is this something that was in the works for a while behind the scenes? Did they rush into this hire? I mean, what are your thoughts on Dumars?
Yeah, it's mixed emotions, honestly, Taylor. Look, I think everybody knows about Joe Dumars, the player, won 2 championships up in Detroit. He won a championship as an executive, had a really good run of success, right, of 7, 8 straight years. But then towards the end of his executive career up in Detroit, they floundered. I think it was 5 straight losing seasons, maybe 6. With 5 of those, you only won 30 games or less. So really suffered through some bad decision-making and left the team in a much worse position, honestly, than he had, stewarded it about, the previous 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So, like I said, there's a lot of highs and lows with his career. And when you tie it to the fact that the Pelicans seem to have picked, the Pelicans ownership seems to have decided on him being the next president of basketball operations, there was no search done. As to where 6 years ago, when the Pelicans made a change from Dell Demps to David Griffin, they hired a consulting firm. They interviewed a number of candidates, including also Trajan Langdon at the time. And this time, they didn't go that route. 6 years ago, they wanted just to go to Dell Demps, but they ended up doing the process the right way. Now it sounds like they're not doing it, probably because they said, look, we tried it that way, going through the process formally and everything, doing an exhaustive search, but it still ended up netting the same results, right, where the team did not find sustainable success. So they felt like they wanted to have somebody that ownership group could trust, who they've been talking to. And let's face it, I think Joe Dumars and the ownership group have known each other for well over 10 years. So they wanted to bring in a guy that they can trust and hope that he can turn things around.
Do you think it was the right move?
It's too early to say because, let's face it, a lot of luck is involved in getting these things right. And here's the one thing that is a positive is that David Griffin seemed to become almost the best friend to some of these guys, right? He's more of a friend than somebody leading them. So Joe Dumars has that respect. He's supposedly going to come in, and if he doesn't feel like he can make it work with Zion, then he's going to move on from him. But on the flip side, like I said, the record, he's been a bad talent evaluator. They've had some bad drafts in Detroit. He's been out of the loop from being a GM for a really long time. So there's a lot of things that really scare me about this hire too.
Okay, so you're going to bring in a new VP of basketball operations. Obviously, Griffin out. Looks like it's going to be Joe Dumars. What do you think this means for Willie Green's future?
Well, initially we've all heard that Willie Green is going to be retained.
Yeah.
What's funny is about midway through the season, Pelicans got off to a terrible start, right? 5-29. Reportedly, David Griffin wanted to move on from Willie Green during the middle of the season, right? Nobody was happy, like I said. Team was just spiraling down. and he wanted to make a change, but it sounds like he wasn't allowed to. It was the writing on the wall for David Griffin that, look, he's not allowed to make the decisions anymore because he was probably going to be out the door soon. So with Willie Green, it's a mixed bag. I thought his trajectory was shooting upwards, right? First 3 years, won more games than the previous season. Last year, team won 49 games, but this year he fell off the map. But our understanding is that ownership really likes Willie Green. They like what he stands for, what he's tried to do. And it seems to me a lot of the players are kind of supportive of that. I mean, if you just listen to Jose Alvarado's end-of-season comments right after that final game, he seemed to be in full support of Willie Green, saying, I don't know how anybody could have done basically any better. When you lost your best player, your best defensive player, your best up-and-coming player, you traded Brandon Ingram, you lost your point guard, right? So we can go on and on. So it sounds like Willie Green is going to be probably given another chance. But again, that's all pending what Joe Dumars says and thinks once he's probably talked to everybody.
I mean, okay, do you think they should move on from him? Because, I mean, look, everybody, I get it. New Orleans fans are passionate regardless of what sport, right? People hated Dennis Allen. Nobody likes Mickey Loomis now. But, like, there seems to really be a mixed bag fan-wise about Willie Green. Like, what do you think Pelicans fans might want?
They probably want change,
yeah.
Right? I mean, there's a lot of, there's pros and cons to everybody and everything, especially in a situation like this. Willie Green, one thing that he does bring stability, right? He never lost his cool. He also, I thought, had a pretty decent staff around him to where they were saying the right things, but not always the players were executing it. But then when you wonder why, you see that most of the time he was stuck with honestly playing G Leaguers, right? There was a well-known joke. It wasn't the Birmingham Squadron in Birmingham. It was the Birmingham Squadron in New Orleans. So he didn't have much to work with. And like I said, the previous 3 years seemed to indicate that, Willie Green did a pretty decent job. I'd say even a better job than, say, some of his predecessors that definitely couldn't get through to this group. Dan Van Gundy was here for 1 year. Before that, Alvin Gentry suffered through a lot of losing seasons. So it makes you wonder, is it the coach or is it what he's got to work with? And I tend to lean towards the latter, honestly. So I wouldn't mind seeing Willie Green honestly come back.
Yes, and like you mentioned, the reports were that ownership loves him. He's likely going to be retained. But, Ollie, just for hypothetical, let's say that changes. So let's say Joe Dumars comes in, he wants to make a change. They allow him to make a change. I mean, there's guys out there who have been let go that, have been in the NBA for a while, but they got impressive resumes. I mean, Mike Malone's one with the Nuggets. The Suns just let go of Mike Budenholzer after a year. Like, if they do let go of Willie Green, who could the Pels go after?
Here's the part you got to also remember. A player, let's say, for instance, a guy like Mike Malone, you want to bring him in.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to command top-notch salary. From what I understand, Willie Green was one of the lowest-paid coaches. So paying top-tier type of coaching talent, I'm not sure this organization is willing to go there, right? They haven't had sustainable success. They've never felt like they need to sink in their resources. But at the same time, you've got to wonder if they put those resources in, paid top dollar for all these, then maybe things would turn around, especially in the win-loss record. So I wouldn't bet on, say, a big name like Mike Malone coming here. Instead, maybe they'll look at a Mike Brown. If Willie Green was to move on, he was let go from the Kings. He's long time known to be a good coach that can get through the players. Taylor Jenkins is another one, was just recently fired by the Memphis Grizzlies. Seems to know his, X's and O's and is well regarded in the league. So I don't think it would be, like I said, a flashy name. It'd be probably somebody down the tier a little bit because that's just how this organization operates.
Ollie, moving from the Joe Dumars situation to the upcoming draft lottery. So if you look at the draft lottery odds, Jazz, Wizards, Hornets all tied at the top with a 14% chance of getting that top pick. Pelicans right there at fourth with a 12.5%. Let's say the Pelicans land one of those top four. Let's say everything goes chalk, they land a top four pick. What position do you want to see them? I mean, obviously, if you're the number one overall pick, you're taking Cooper Flagg. Everybody knows that. But, let's say they don't get one, but they are there in that top four. Where would you like to see the Pelicans go?
Well, if they get two, I think it's a shoo-in that they would go ahead and draft Dylan Harper. If they just stay around four, B.J. Edgecombe seems to be the favorite, a guy that, got a lot of talent. I don't know if anybody ever watched any Baylor basketball, but this guy is an elite athlete. He's going to help you at the guard position where DeJounte Murray's future is in question. Nobody's expecting him to be ready to start next year, so that could help. But if they say they slid down a little bit, and that's been known to happen, right? they could maybe get Con Kneppel from Duke. I kind of like him.
Yeah.
He was kind of in the shadows, right, of Cooper Flagg, but I think he's got a game that's very similar to Austin Reeves, where offensively he can do it all, right, as kind of one of the larger, basically a regular wing out there, but he can play make for you, he can shoot the three well, makes good decisions. And then if you wanted to get another big, and if you think Zion's in your plans, or maybe even if he's not, you need an offensive big. The Pelicans don't have one. Eve Missy, he's more of a rim roller. He does stuff right at the rim. You could go after Derek Queen of Maryland. So there's a lot of players that could help, regardless of wherever they end up in this draft lottery.
Ollie, from draft lottery to your current roster, look, if you decide to hold on to Zion Williamson, because if Dumars comes in, new head coach, same head coach, there's likely going to be at least a little bit of roster turnover. So besides Zion, which is the obvious big star, what pieces on this current team do you want to see the Pelicans hold on to?
Yeah, I want to see them honestly give Zion a chance, right? I know that the off-court issues have upset ownership, and that's just technically always been the case for a lot of groups around the league that own teams. But Zion's an all-NBA talent, so I think you have to retain him unless you maybe end up and get lucky and you get Cooper Flagg, right? Because if you don't, you need still to have that star/superstar, because otherwise the team isn't going to be able to really have success. I know Joe Dumars did that in Detroit, right? He won the championship, had all those successful years with good players to great players, but not like a superstar. But I think that's more of the exception history's proven. So you got to keep him. Trey Murphy, obviously, and Herb Jones, they have been here for the long haul, and they're homegrown talent that seems to want to be here. So those guys would obviously stay. Maybe C.J. McCollum would be the one you dangle, because he's going to be making $33 million or so, age 34 season coming up for him. And he's soaking up a lot of your money on the salary cap sheet. So he'd probably be the most obvious choice first if you want to offload. But again, if you're keeping Zion, you need to have shooters around him. And CJ was probably the Pelicans' best shooter, all-around shooter last year, right? He had games of 50 points, 45, 43. So he can still definitely bring it. So Joe Dumars is going to have a lot of decisions to make, but it's going to all depend on what they want to do with Zion. If they think they can keep him, I think a lot of this roster would stay. But if they decide to move on from him, then it's really open season outside of, like I said, maybe Trey, Herb, a few other of these young guys.
Ollie Cosell, Pelicans Insider. Ollie, before we get you out of here, let folks know where they can hear more from you.
Yeah, thanks. Follow me along over on Blue Sky Social. Full name, OLEHKOSEL, Ollie Cosell.
All right, Ollie Cosell, Pelicans Insider. Thanks for hopping on with us this morning.
Thanks, Taylor. Have a good one.
Absolutely, you do as well. All right, we're going to take a quick time out. When we get back, we're talking Jalen Ramsey. Could there be mutual interest between him and the Saints? We're breaking it all down next here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
If your car dies in the interstate, when you're having a panic attack, you think you're dying, and you're on the way to the hospital, chances are you need a new car. So you should go to All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge. Located off Airline in Goodwood, whether you're looking for a new, used, you want to lease potentially, it's all there at All-Star. And they've got the best prices, best selection. You go to the website, you can check out the deals, or just go see them, start to work with the sales staff, okay? Because the people are what separates the culture. Over there's the absolute best. Remember, we got our buy 3 tires, get the 4th for $1 deal going down right now. Go to All-Star Toyota Baton Rouge, allstartoyotabatonrouge.com.
Yeah, when you go to the website, see what they've got available for you, and that is buying new, that's leasing, and that is renting. And we tell you every day because I find it like it's one of the best things out there that whatever you buy new, you can lease and you can rent. It's just not going to be found anywhere else. Like you're going to get like one option in other places. Everything's available in the rental process over at All-Star. Go to the website today, allstartoyotabatonrouge.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
You gotta believe in the dream. Believe. You gotta believe in the dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Back to sports talk. Maybe. Off the bench.
You know, Musso, sometimes when you're a week away from the NFL draft, all you got to do is not do or say something stupid, and you're pretty much going to be set up for success if you're taken in the top 10, correct?
Correct, yeah. That's the pathway to success.
Some people just can't do it. And Travis Hunter did not do anything. It's what he said. So over the weekend, this just keeps coming out over the last couple of days. Travis Hunter interviewed with CBS Sports last week, and they asked him, if any club had any issues with him playing both corner and receiver. Obviously, Hunter won the Heisman Trophy as a two-way player for Colorado. Some teams view him as a corner, some view him as a receiver. And he said, look, I haven't ran into a team that would have a problem with me playing both sides of the ball. And then the question came up, okay, well, what if you were limited to just one side of the ball? And Travis Hunter said, well, if that's the case, I would just never play football again, because I've been doing it my whole life. I love being on the football field, and I could dominate on each side of the ball, so I really enjoy it. Why would you take that away from me? Okay, a few things. One, you sound like an idiot. Two, that's not even true. If I'm the Cleveland Browns or the New York Giants, or whoever the hell decides to draft Travis Hunter, and I pay him $20 million a year, and I tell him that he can only play corner or he can only play wide receiver, who in their right mind actually believes that Travis Hunter is going to quit? Why say this? It's not even true. Travis Hunter is not going to quit playing football and walk away from all that money because he's not allowed to play receiver or he's not allowed to play corner. It's not even true. I mean, I don't know who's advising some of these guys to say things. It's just like, okay, the Nico situation. We'll keep going back to that because that's dominating the headlines. Like, who's advising you to try to take all this money when you're not the player that you think you are? Like, if you're Travis Hunter, you're an excellent player. You have excellent tape. You're pretty much a lock to go top 5 in the NFL draft, regardless of which team. You're going to make a lot of money in this league as long as you're willing to play this game. And you're saying, I'm going to walk away from football if you don't let me play both ways. It's not true. If I'm a team, I call his bluff. He's not going to do that. That's not even true. Like, what do you gain if you're Travis Hunter from saying stuff like this? I never understand why athletes are like, I have to say this. I just have to. No, you don't. Just go about your business. Don't do anything or say anything that might have teams caution away from you, and you're fine. You're a millionaire. Look, I like Travis Hunter. I think he's a really good player. I think he's a really good person by all accounts. It's just a stupid thing to say. Because, like, not only are teams like, okay, like, this dude's a little full of himself, but also, like, it's not even true. Like, I don't believe him. I don't believe Travis Hunter that he would quit and walk away from football if he was not allowed to play both ways. I don't believe that. Speaking of cornerbacks in the NFL, because I think that's where Travis Hunter is going to play, Jalen Ramsey has asked for a trade from the Miami Dolphins, the 3-time All-Pro corner. Him and the Dolphins will mutually seek a trade. Now, obviously, the New Orleans Saints have come up quickly in conversation for many trying to predict Ramsey's next landing spot. Obviously, the Saints need a corner. Look, you have Alontae Taylor, you have Kool-Aid McKinstry. You traded Marshawn Lattimore during the season. Paulson Adebo walked in free agency. He's a New York Giant now. So you have two pretty good corners in your starting lineup. Two things. One, you have nobody behind those two guys, and Alontae Taylor has played a lot more in the slot in his NFL career than he has as a true outside corner. He's done it in college, but as far as the Saints go, he's a lot more comfortable in that slot nickel role. So I do think you need a corner. When you look at Jalen Ramsey and the New Orleans Saints, there are a lot of connections. Okay, when Brandon Staley was with the Los Angeles Rams, Jalen Ramsey was there. He had one of his best seasons as a pro. Brandon Staley has credited Jalen Ramsey, said he's one of the biggest reasons why he got the Los Angeles Chargers coaching job after just 1 year as Rams defensive coordinator. He has a lot of respect for a guy like Jalen Ramsey. On the flip side of things, when the Saints announced that they were hiring Brandon Staley as their next defensive coordinator, Jalen Ramsey retweeted it. He said, my guy. He put the fire emoji. Like, these two certainly like each other. They have a lot of respect for each other. They would probably like to reunite. Should the Saints want it? Obviously, Jalen Ramsey has been a great player in this league for a number of years. He's a little bit past his prime, though. He's old for his position, but he can still play a little. Like, if you look at his numbers from a year ago, he started all 17 games. He had 2 interceptions, 60 total tackles. Like, he had a good year. He had a sack. But he's 31 years old. He's moved around a little bit, and I think the Dolphins would ask too much in return to get it. And the Saints don't have anything to give up. What would they be willing to give up for him? Hopefully nothing. I say don't make this move. Again, Miami's going to ask a lot. You don't have much to give up. I definitely think you need a cornerback, just not an aging guy who's on the wrong side of 30, who's a high price, who you're going to have to trade for and probably give up a lot asset-wise. Now, I don't think that this cornerback class in the upcoming NFL draft is especially deep. Look, I really like Will Johnson. I'd be okay if the Saints took him at 9. I think you need a corner that bad. I like Jedi Barron from Texas. I think he's a really good player. Those two guys seem like they're both going to go in the first round. Outside of that, I mean, you certainly have talent. I think it's a big drop-off, though. I mean, Siobhan Revel's been a guy that's been talked about. He's kind of a fringe first-round player out of East Carolina. You have Trey Amos from Ole Miss. He had kind of an up-and-down college career, certainly made some plays. He was on a bad defense at Ole Miss, but, I mean, he stood out at times. Maxwell Hairston at Kentucky, again, on a pretty bad defense. Made some flash plays. At times didn't look so great. Now, Maxwell Hairston was the fastest player at the NFL Combine, so he does have that going for him. I think whether it's Amos, Revel, Maxwell Hairston, I think one of those guys could be there at 40. So maybe even if you don't grab a Will Johnson or a Jedi Barron in the first round, you could get a solid quality corner at 40. Do I think any of those guys are game changers? No, at least not their rookie season. At least not from what I've seen from any of them. Look, again, Hairston, fastest player at the Combine. Trey Amos, solid player in the SEC. Both of those guys have SEC starting experience. That means a lot to someone like me. And then Siobhan Revel, yeah, he was at East Carolina, but he's a guy that continues to rise up draft boards. A lot of teams really like his potential at the next level. They're all options. I wouldn't call them home runs, but they're solid additions. The problem comes in, what if you don't want to invest a first or second round pick in a cornerback? Again, I think there's a big drop-off between Johnson and Barron and those three. After those first 5, though, I think there's a huge drop-off to the next guy. I like Zy Alexander. He's had some injury concerns. I think he's a guy that you could get, round 4 potentially. Other than him, though, I mean, who do you have? Dorian Strong from Virginia Tech. I mean, he's a fine player. I don't know if he's a day one starter in the NFL. So if you're the Saints and you don't want to spend a first or second round pick on a corner, you might say, hey, go after a guy like Jalen Ramsey. And I get it. But again, what are you willing to give up? I think you're going to have to give up a pick somewhere in rounds 2 or 3 and possibly a player as well. And that hasn't been reported. I'm just spitballing here. That's just kind of what we've seen from similar players of Jalen Ramsey's stature. I think Jalen Ramsey's got, 2 years of good football left in him, but you'd have to take on his big contract. You'd have to give up assets to get him. I don't know if you can afford to do that right now. Like, if you're the Saints, you want to get younger. You don't want to bring in a 31-year-old cornerback with a big contract. You already have guys like that. You already have aging players on big contracts. Why would you want to add to that? If you're Mickey Loomis, you love doing it, but, why would you want to add another old player on a big contract? I personally would draft a corner in this upcoming NFL draft. But even if they don't, what about free agency? There's some guys out there, and they'd probably be cheaper than Jalen Ramsey, and they're free agents. You wouldn't have to give up anything for them. As far as the guys that are available at the cornerback position that are relatively young, Shaquille Griffin's out there. He was with Minnesota last year. He's had an up-and-down NFL career, but if you want to add a veteran, he made $4.5 million last year. He's an affordable option. Emmanuel Mosley's out there. Asante Samuel Jr. was with the Chargers last year. He made $1.8 million. That's an option. Now, C.J. Henderson, big name. He's played in some big games. He didn't play football last year. He made over $5 million in Pittsburgh, didn't play. He's only 26 years old, but is that a guy you like? Is that a guy you can bring in? Now, again, he's been out of football for a year, but what could you do with a guy like that? Outside of that, though, what do you have? Trayvon Mullen, who's been a disappointment. Kendall Sheffield hasn't lit the world on fire. Caleb Farley from the Panthers, he's been a disappointment. You kind of get the point. There's some guys out there, you don't really have any game changers, whether it's free agency or the draft. But I do like the first 4 to 5 options in this corner spot. I don't think it's a deep class. However, I think it's top heavy. If you can land one of those 4 or 5 corners and then include Zy Alexander in there as well, I like that. So there's 5 to 6 guys you'd maybe be happy with. I think they're going to have to draft a corner in this class. None of those free agents I named move the needle at all for me. And then if you're the Saints, you're going to have to give up multiple assets to get Jalen Ramsey coming in, who's 31 years old, so he's on the wrong side of 30, and you're going to have to take on his contract. I don't know if you want to do that. I certainly do not. We'll see what they decide to do. And look, Jalen Ramsey, great player, right? He's been a 3-time first-team All-Pro. He was Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's been to 7 Pro Bowls in his career. Jalen Ramsey can play. How much longer can he play at that level? What are you willing to give up for him? We'll see. If I'm the Saints, I say no thanks. But if you're desperate enough for a corner, keep an eye on this. This may be a move that the Saints feel that they have to make. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, guys, Derek Carr's career in New Orleans might be over, but I know a lot of you are worried about what he's going to do for the remainder of his career. Don't worry, he's got it all figured out. We got that coming up. He might be changing careers. That's on the other side here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
Go to centralplumbing.org. Centralplumbing.org, baby. 925-8552. Central Plumbing is your one-stop plumbing shop and has been for damn near 50 years. And when you look at that timeline, it tells you a few things. First off, the only way you keep your doors open that long and you continue to grow over that time period is if your customers are consistently satisfied with the customer experience. And this is everything from the pricing to the service to the quality of the work. And why not, right? Licensed, bond insured employees, flat rate pricing, 24/7 emergency service, great warranty once the work is done. It also tells you that they've seen it all, they can fix it all. Go to centralplumbing.org.
Go to the website today and see what they can do for you. Remodels. Go tankless with the tankless water heater. Never run out of hot water again, but you always know 24/7, 365, weekends, holidays, game day, they will be there. 225-925-8552.
You work hard every day to pursue a life you love. You put in the time, and it shows. You're forging ahead, chasing a dream, creating something better for the ones you love. You're building your own life. So why not build your own tractor? With John Deere tractors and attachments for almost any need, the Sunshine team can help you do just that. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Back from the break, where the sports talk gets real. Kinda. Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Welcome back in. Just 2 more segments to go here on a Wednesday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp here with you, filling in for Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Guys, I know that Saints fans, whether you're all across the state of Louisiana or even beyond, are really concerned about this Derek Carr shoulder injury. You're like, man, I have a lot of love and respect for Derek Carr. What's he going to do for the rest of his career? I'm worried about the guy. I know he has $40 million fully guaranteed, but still, that $40 million is only going to go so far. Well, Cassie, Musso, have no fear. Derek Carr is going to be a social media influencer.
Really? That's what he's working on?
I'm going to give Hunt Palmer credit. He mentioned this a little bit on his show yesterday. He's kind of the one that turned me on to this. So it's called the Homegrown Network, where him and his brother David are reviewing an electric Rolls Royce. Why this channel's not called Cars with Cars, I don't know. It's another bad decision by Derek Carr.
Good point.
It's like Cars with Cars. I'm probably subscribing to that YouTube channel. Homegrown Network, don't care. I'm scrolling right past it. So it's Derek Carr and his brother David. Now, we're going to play a quick clip of them reviewing this car because they review price, which, by the way, Musso, they give a 0 out of 10 on price because it's too expensive.
Oh, okay.
And and they did.
What kind of car is this?
It's an electric Rolls Royce.
Oh yeah, they thought that would be cheap.
Yeah. Well, and they do mention that the Rolls Royce is not a sponsor. They bought this car and reviewed it out of the goodness of their hearts. Oh, and if you're wondering, like, man, David Carr has that kind of cash laying around. No. David Carr was very quick to point out that, like, Derek's the one with all the money. Derek bought the car.
Yeah.
So in case you were wondering, like, I know everybody's worried about Derek Carr struggling financially. Derek Carr bought the vehicle. So he bought the $500,000 Rolls Royce. Their presents, meaning the presents when you roll up in the vehicle, which, first off, stupid thing to review for a car. They gave it a 20 out of 10. Both of them. 20 out of 10. And they're also, like, regardless of what they review, whether it's price, presence, look, all of this, they all give it the exact same number. Like, both of them give it the exact same score across the board. I'm assuming they planned this out ahead of time before they started the video. But they're just so corny. Like, all right, don't take my word for it. Cassie, I put a link in the doc. Go ahead and play that. We'll play it for like 30 seconds or so. Like, I just want you guys to get a vibe of, like, what this channel is.
It's time to grade this sucker. All right? First on price. Now,
0. I'm just going to say.
I'm just going to say 0. All right? It's way
so expensive.
To spend that much money on a car is ridiculous. And so price, we both give 0.
Sorry,
now,
bro.
Is it worth every dollar if this is what you want? Absolutely.
Sure.
But
man,
in our price, 0. It's
the
a 0.
amount of teriyaki don I can get over here on Cedar for that is crazy.
The amount of tri-tip sandwiches I could get at Doghouse Grill.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I'm going 0, so it's a 0 for the price.
Sorry, guys.
Our first ever.
First ever 0.
It's the first one.
Well, you're asking $500,000 for an electric car. It's beautiful, but my goodness.
0 on the price. All right, practicality.
Practicality, they're coming in there as well. You kind of got the taste of what this channel is going to be, guys. Derek Carr and David Carr might be the cringiest pair of brothers I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, all right, Moose, you're a huge Saints fan. I know you love Carr. What's your initial reaction to this video?
It looks like it cost 6 cents to make, which I guess they only had that much left after buying a really expensive car, apparently. It reminds me of something you would see, like, honestly, like 2 high schoolers doing on YouTube. Like, that's the vibe I get from it.
Like they have a rich parent. They went out and bought a car, and they're like, guys, we're going to review this.
We're going to review the car. We look so cool rolling up in it. That's our presents. Oh, it's a little expensive, though.
This is our first 0 out of 10 with the boo sounder in behind it. Like, what are we doing?
That looks like something that 2 18-year-olds would do.
Derek Carr's in his mid-30s. David Carr's 40 years old.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? Also, presents. I mentioned they gave it a 20 out of 10. Not where I'm from. I got to tell you, if you're rolling up in an electric vehicle where I'm from, I don't care if it's a Rolls Royce, I don't care if it's a Prius, I don't care if it's really anything in between. Electric vehicle presence is not a 20 out of 10 under any circumstances. Not my thing. He mentions, okay, well, I could buy 32,500 sandwiches with this. How much Chipotle could you buy for it, Derek? Isn't that the first place he went when he got to New Orleans? Was that what it was?
I think so, yeah.
Where's Chipotle?
Actually, no, I think
they
that was
asked
the
him first meal you had in New Orleans. He's like, well, obviously, of all the cuisine here in the Big Easy, Chipotle is where I'm going. All right. Next vehicle they're reviewing. What do we think it is, Cassie?
I don't think I know enough cars to guess.
Let's review my truck. Let's give Derek Carr and David Carr a 2004 F-250 with 195,000 miles and no AC. However, it does have a brand new windshield.
There we go.
Got that done. Subtle brag there, guys.
You and I should do that. We should go out in the parking lot and make a YouTube video of ourselves reviewing your truck.
I agree.
And post it and just see,
Probably get more views.
Yeah, what were we looking at for views?
It was only like 3,700 views.
That's actually not that bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah, they put it out yesterday. 3,700 views.
That's pretty.
Speaking of what kind of traction this video has got, guys, we have 237 comments on this video.
Oh, no.
Man, Derek, that truck is so big you could fit all of your playoff wins in there.
Come on, man.
What do we want this car to do? How about show up to work when you're making $40 million?
Hey, yeah, there it is. Got him.
All right, here's your favorite one, Musa. Great car. If you ever come back to New Orleans, I hope you drive it into Bayou St. John with the windows rolled up.
Oh, my God. All right, chill out, dude. God, let's have some chill. Man, it's football.
Oh, and also, at the beginning of the video, he points out, a former Niner and a former Raider here are finally getting along because we're no longer rivals. I'm sure that went over well with Saints fans.
Yeah, there you go.
Referring to yourself as a former Raider and not a current New Orleans Saint, that'll get it done. Guys, the comments here are really impressive. You think it's crazy to spend that much money on a car? Imagine how the Saints felt when they spent this money on Derek Carr. The Timu Manning brothers.
Okay, that one's really good, actually. That was funny.
Don't let Derek drive this car inside the red zone. It will get stolen.
See, that's good, too.
Guys, they got some good ones. If the car doesn't start, just let Derek Carr push it into the red zone. It'll turn over.
Oh, man. That's good. I like that.
I
like that.
Moose, like,
those three were the best ones.
Is this the most out of touch thing you could possibly? This video was released yesterday. The YouTube channel itself is 8 days old.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that's Derek Carr. I mean, he's never really been the most self-aware person. At least not in his time in New Orleans. At least not in his time speaking in the media. And I mean, he constantly puts himself in awkward spots.
Yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't always, he doesn't put himself in a position where it appears like there's a lot of accountability and things of that nature. And to drop that video the same day where a report comes out from Diana Rossini that the shoulder injury is trade bait and, it's not nearly as severe as the report makes it out to be, the optics of that are horrible. But that, again, that's just kind of the self-awareness or lack thereof that you've seen from Derek Carr in New Orleans so far.
You dropped this video yesterday after the report already came out. I don't know when they filmed this because last time I heard Derek Carr was vacationing with his family in Paris. He mentions, I could buy this many sandwiches with this vehicle. And at the very beginning, he mentions, hey, I didn't buy this car. Derek bought this car. Derek's the one with all the money. I don't have my NFL money anymore. Derek's the one that, he's the one that's making plays on the field, making all this money. So Derek bought this car out of the goodness of his heart. Like, what a slap in the face to Saints fans to do this. And I mean, I read you some of the comments. They were some brutal stuff, but what did you expect? What did you expect to happen? Did you think people would be like, oh, cool car, or I love it. I think this is great that you guys started a channel. I'd like to see the brother bonding. First off, you recorded a super cringy, corny YouTube video with your brother that Musso mentioned looks like a couple high schoolers did it out in the parking lot. And you're going to put this out 2 days after it was announced you have a shoulder surgery or potentially have shoulder surgery that could end your entire 2025 season. Look, like Derek Carr, don't like Derek Carr. You think he's good? You think he sucks? You think he's somewhere in between? I have never seen any athlete in any other city that has the worst self-awareness than Derek Carr. I mean, maybe Kevin Durant. That's kind of that might be the only comp of someone that you remember Kevin Durant, the burner accounts, everybody found out it was him. I can't think of someone who's as bad at their own PR as Derek Carr. I don't understand what he thought was going to happen when he put this YouTube video out. I mean, guys, the comments I read you, they were some brutal stuff. Bayou St. John, the turnovers in the red zone, the fake shoulder injury. You get it. What were they expecting? I mean, 237 comments. I left out the ones that had profanity in them. I don't understand what Derek Carr thought was going to happen, why they thought this was a good idea. If you want to know, there is a video on their YouTube channel, the Homegrown Network, about why they started this channel, but I don't get it. I don't get why you would release this now. Wait a week. Wait 2 weeks. Don't do it 2 days after the report comes out. I don't understand. It's another check mark in the bad decisions of Derek Carr as a member of the New Orleans Saints. Former Raider, actually, according to that video. Derek Carr. All right, we're going to take a timeout. When we get back, we're going to close this thing out like we do every day with some Ask the Bench.
Off the bench.
GEAUXTommies.com. Go Tommies.com. You want Hardy Plank or vinyl siding, wood or vinyl windows, any type of door, you want Tommy's. And if you go to the website, you can start to explore a lot of the advantages that the products offer. And it's not just aesthetics, it's functional as well, right? It makes your home more energy efficient. It helps you save on bills. So why not invest in your greatest asset, right? What do we do? Everything we do in life is to what? Right? To have a roof over our heads, a place to live, right? Maximize that place with Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, winners of the Angie Super Service Award every year they've been in existence. Go to gotommys.com.
Go there today to Windows, Doors, and Siding. Obviously, you can check out what they can do, but also past work they've done for other clients, and always know they can customize your job to what you're looking for. And you can find all that information at gotommys.com.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Uh-oh. Speaking of baseball, spring has sprung, baseball's in the air, and the best beer to pair with this beautiful weather we've been having and this beautiful baseball we've been witnessing is Dos Equis. So next time you're at the ballpark or you're just at home watching the game, you're getting thirsty, you're wondering what you should do, you should go for Dos. That's right, baby.
Getting good at that.
And drink some Dos Equis in hour 3 today during the Champagne Shenanigans. Call them a little Dos Equis. Dos Equis. What's a D word that would be with like shenanigans?
We were just calling it Go for Dose last week.
No, I know. I was just looking for alliteration. And it doesn't matter. Look, guys, Dos Equis delicious. Next time you get a bottle, get you a little lime, lube that neck up, sprinkle some salt, drop that lime inside, and then lick and drink to your heart's content. Go for Dos. Dos Equis. Drink responsibly.
You know, Moose, the great baseball we've seen lately makes a lot more sense today after last night's win. We did play that exact spot on Monday morning. Didn't play quite as well, but what are you going to do? It's a T-Bob Hebert spot. They're pretty much all like that.
I can imagine on Monday that was not received as well as it would be today.
All right, we just got a few minutes left here on a Wednesday edition of Off the Bench. Let's close it out as we do every day with some Ask the Bench. First question for Matthew Musso. Ask the Bench, does Musso miss his OTB gig?
Sure, yeah. I mean, of course, I miss the show and like the atmosphere of the show. I do not miss the wake up call at all, though. But I mean, if you're asking me if I miss the show, sure. Like if this show was not at 7 a.m., I'd be all in. But I don't know how I ever did that. I really don't. Like I do not know how I ever produced this show full time.
Ask the Bench, would you rather be the public relations manager for Nico Iamaleava or Derek Carr? Derek Carr, at least I'm getting paid. Nico left for more money. He's sitting there like a man without a team. He ain't getting half the money. At least if you're Derek Carr, like he's got a $40 million guaranteed contract. You're getting some sort of piece of that pie. So I'm going Derek Carr on that one for sure. You're
going to stay busy either way.
Yeah, exactly. Ask the Bench, what's the worst car you have ever owned, and why is it still better than Derek Carr? I've only owned 2 cars in my life.
Yeah.
One is the one I currently have.
I've had 3 trucks. I'd say the middle one was probably the worst, but it still wasn't even really that bad. So, I mean, I've just kind of been fortunate there.
For me, I guess my Jeep, because my F-250 has been so reliable. I had a Jeep when I was in high school. If you're wondering why I don't have it anymore, the car in front of me stopped, I didn't. And, sometimes that's frowned upon. That's not what you're supposed to do when you're driving a vehicle. Ask the Bench, if Derek Carr was a vehicle, would he be a Cybertruck? Hard to look at, performs poorly, held together like by glue. Yeah, or he'd be that electric Rolls Royce that's overpriced and doesn't really do a whole lot for you. I mean, he walked himself into that one. He's like, this car's way too expensive for what you get. It's like, yeah, kind of like your contract, buddy. Yeah, he walked himself into that one.
The Cybertruck, that was really good and accurate for Derek Carr.
Ask the Bench, should the Pels trade Zion and blow it all up?
I don't care. Isn't that the problem?
Yeah. But that's because we were talking about this the other day. So many people were like, oh, New Orleans might be getting an NHL team. I'm like, that seems like really fun for 2 years. And then once they start losing, people aren't going to care. Because you can say what you want. People in New Orleans don't care about the Pelicans when they're losing. They lose interest. When the Saints lose, you get anger. You put on 237 angry comments on a Derek Carr YouTube channel. You go to the game just so you can rage watch. You lose interest in the Pelicans altogether. It would be the same way for the NHL team. So, like, I'm kind of with you. Like, it's like, do you care at this point? Like, is it going to matter? Are you going to be better than you were with or without him? Like, he hardly plays. He's missed 52% of the games that he's played. Like, does it matter? Sure. Why not? Why not try something? Sure. Go ahead and cut him.
More problems than just Zion and his. So, like, damn, do whatever, man. I don't really care.
Ask the Bench, was Jordan suspended for confusing OTB mailbag with Ask the Bench? No, Jordan will be back tomorrow. I don't know how you can confuse that, though. Like, OTB mailbag and Ask the Bench are 2 completely different segments. I mean, they have different names.
Yeah, but they're kind of the same
premise.
premise.
But like Musa, they have different names. They're completely different segments.
Yeah. Actually, they are the same premise, but yeah, with different names and music.
Ask the Bench, favorite Bluebell ice cream flavor?
Dutch chocolate.
That is a really good one.
Oh.
Cassie?
I have to go with cookies and cream.
Solid as well.
They came out with a cookie cake a couple years ago. It had like real vanilla and chocolate icing in it. That was really good. I'll tell you what, I got one the other day called Banana Fudge. It sounds weird, but like it tastes like a chocolate-covered banana. I just bought it the other day.
Interesting.
It's actually sneaky good. Honestly, anything Bluebell puts out that doesn't have nuts in it is kind of for me.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like that's kind of where I'm at. Like, does it really matter the flavor? Like somebody can say, hey, Bluebell put out a new flavor. I'm not even asking what it is. I'm going to the store to buy it. That's all I need to know at this point. Like I'm in on that all the way. All right, that's going to do it for Ask the Bench, and that's going to do it for a Wednesday edition of OTB. Busy show today. We were baseball heavy in hour number 1, recapping LSU's victory over the McNeese Cowboys. Hour number 2, we talked some LSU football. Zach Nagy of SI hopped on, gave us his thoughts from LSU practice yesterday, as well as that scrimmage that occurred last Saturday. Here in hour number 3, Ali Cosell, Pelicans insider, hopped on, gave us his thoughts about the Pels firing David Griffin, ultimately hiring Joe Dumars. What does it mean for Willie Green's future in New Orleans? What does it mean for Zion Williamson's future in New Orleans? We talked a little Jalen Ramsey, a little Kirk Cousins. We got into it a lot. Derek Carr has a brand new YouTube channel. He's going to be a social media influencer. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow for more Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
Go to KTZBlinds.com, KTOZ blinds.com. And I can't tell you enough. And actually, like during the last couple of weeks, our shade has just consistently stayed down that we have in the back of our home. And that's where the sun kind of, before we got it, just really ruined TV viewing during the day. You're trying to watch like a big NFL game or a big baseball game. LSU's got an early one today and you couldn't get it done. Just wasn't the same, right? You got this huge glare on the TV. Well, I didn't think putting something on the exterior of our home would change the interior of our home, but it has certainly done that. Now it's done its original job. Like Harlow loves going out to our little patio. We dropped the shade down there. She plays out there, absolutely loves it. It's not as hot, it's not bright, but it has changed the dynamic of our entire home. The house is cooler whenever we have the shade down. They'll do it for you as well. K2zblinds.com.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.